interested in that for sure, and we will talk a lot about that over the course of these next 3 hours. It is a busy, newsy day. I feels like we say that all the time because it is, and today with the NBA deadline 1 hour ago coming and going, Grizzlies, shh, be real quiet. Don't wake up anybody down at the Grizzlies office. Grizzlies did nothing, did they?
No, they absolutely didn't. I think a lot of people were expecting them to make at least one move, but I'm not that upset.
A money move.
I'm not that upset that they didn't.
I kid, Grizzlies. I didn't even say Donkey Land Ranch. I kid.
But
you're not that upset about it. No. Nor am I. But there are a lot of moves around the league, and I heard Greg and Eli cracking on this earlier today, and I thought it was funny too. How about the team going out there bold with the second round 2027 pick, throwing it out there?
How do you?
That might be for somebody in ninth grade right now.
Yeah, that's 6 years. Maybe even middle school, maybe 8th grade, 9th grade. I mean, goodness gracious.
What if it's big time phenom that didn't really work out? That could be 6th or 7th grader, couldn't it?
It really could at this point. I mean, just goodness gracious, talk about a player to be named later that far in advance.
Might actually have a new name by then.
He could.
He very, very well could, but the NBA trade deadline, it blows in and it blows out, and there are a lot of significant deals. Breaking news, no shocker, the West just got tougher. Almost hardly ever reprieve. Yeah, got one with Harden and Durant going over there to the East. Russell Westbrook going over to the East. Yeah, that sure doesn't hurt. But the West, it is for keeps. And the Grizzlies last night with a good win to go 1 over 500 with a tough, brutal stretch of schedule remaining, and we will keep up with that, and we'll see how they work it out going forward. We'll also talk a lot, as I said, about the NIT tonight and, of course, the NCAA tournament. Yesterday I started this show, and I'll start it almost the same way tomorrow, about 48 years ago in that Final Four for the Memphis Tigers that really carved and created a lot of fans. And it ties in today with Lon Kruger announcing his retirement from the coaching racket, and he has done it and done it well. Did it okay in the NBA, but really well as a college basketball coach. And he was part of that Kansas State team that the Tigers defeated in the regional final down in Houston at dimly lit Hofheinz Arena. And Larry Finch dribbling out the clock, and Lon Kruger could not catch him. Lon Kruger, a player for Kansas State then, and later a very successful coach there, and a bunch of other stops, including Final Fours at Florida in '94, at Oklahoma. He took the Oklahoma job in 2011 when their number one choice. They were going after Josh Pastner, and Josh did not take it. Lon Kruger did, and he did a good job for OU there. It sounds like it's going to be a more of an in-house hire, but we'll see. And I don't think, Drew, that will be the only retirement for a lot of reasons. Number one, the year the year they just completed, that if you had very much left in the tank, or had very little left in the tank, rather, that zapped it. Last year zapped it. And here comes NIL, name, image, likeness, and a lot of other things around college sports, and a lot of issues around, always a lot of sensitive issues around college sports. And you just think, you think that Lon Kruger would not be alone. It would, this next list I'm going to rattle off would be very surprising, and would be, I'll guarantee you, a big story if it's Mike Krzyzewski or Roy Williams or Jim Boeheim or Tom Izzo. Those are all on the more older end, and then Bill Self and John Calipari, more around 61, 62 years old. Sean Miller, because of everything that's gone on with Arizona, I don't think that would come as a big surprise. And then an older coach who took George Mason to that very unlikely 2006 Final Four, and now at Miami has had good Miami years, but also at times embroiled in the FBI investigation. In the year that he just had in his age, I expect Jim Larinaga's announcement almost any day. But Lon Kruger steps away at OU, and for a lot of people that remember the 1973 run for the Memphis Tigers, you remember that Southwest Louisiana win, that South Carolina win, that K-State win, that Providence win we talked about yesterday, and that final game that we will talk about tomorrow on March 26th. That will be the 48th anniversary of the Tigers, and I'll say it again tomorrow. Drew, the Tigers had them right where they wanted to. Had them up. They were up 2 on UCLA with about 18 minutes to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's still 18 minutes to go, but I think you're exactly right in the coaching world, especially in college basketball. The year that this has been has just absolutely drained people, and with all the uncertainties in the future with the name, image, and likeness, and it's not going to be a job for older people at this point. It's going to be a young man's job who's going to have to jump through a lot of hoops, not just chasing down kids, but also with these deals that could possibly happen with name, image, and likeness, trying to sort all of that out. It's going to be a headache, especially to start. So I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of coaches just said, I don't want to deal with it.
And after a year away from it, at some point this summer, we hope for the in the broad for the sport, but in the narrow, how many of those coaches after that year off and not having to do it and not having to hang out at Peach Jam and not having to go out and start learning the 8th and 9th graders' names and not go out there and fight that fight again, and before you know it, it's time to start the individual workouts. And I really never have known the exact rules on it. I think you have no more than 3 at a time, and it's a time limit. And I know why they have that. I know why they have those rules, because we know some would very much abuse it and start having, having the Junction Boys of college basketball next week for teams, and you don't want that. Everybody needs a break, and a lot of those older coaches may just think this is the time for the big break. Now in the NBA, after trade deadline, here comes buyout season, and there will be a lot of deals along those lines. We'll talk a lot about the NBA at 4 o'clock, as we do every Thursday, with Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports. He's based out of Orlando, covers the NBA from there. In Orlando, they hung out the not going out of business sale for good, but all merchandise must go sale.
Yeah, pretty much everything that has a pulse and that was tradable, they got rid of, and I think they got a decent amount back. Definitely planning for the future, but over under 5 wins rest of the season, I might look at that under.
Yeah, sure might the rest of the way for Orlando. They were a team building and building for the future, and then it just really didn't pay off for them, and now they're at kind of start over point, and that's a shame to see. I think that's the 17th largest TV market. Don't stereotype that as an itty bitty area. That's a gigantic area, and then you bring in some accompanying cities, and that's a big TV market area. We'll talk with Keith Smith about that at 3:30 coming up here in about 20 minutes. We will go to Dallas and talk to the host of this show and the voice of the Memphis Tigers, Dave Woloshin, in Dallas with the Tigers. We visit with him early today. It was later yesterday as he was traveling. Earlier today, he's got to get ready for the basketball game tonight against Boise at 4:30. We're going to have some fun. We're going to go over a ranking. It's ranking season in college football. We go through that a lot of times, and we will rank a lot of fun lists from a really good Twitter site. And I reached out to him to ask him if it was okay if we could use his list, not intellectual property, but his idea, and he was very nice about it. And his Twitter site is at ATL_Boomer1990. And his site is Big Game Boomer. So guess what? Spoiler alert. He's an Oklahoma fan. His bio says Boomer Sooner, OU alum, everything OU. Huge sports fan, college football junkie, 24/7 college football talk out of Edmond, Oklahoma. And I reached out to him and said, man, I love your list. I love your takes. This is a must college football Twitter follow. I mean, it is really well thought out stuff. His give and take is one of fun. He's trying to have a good time with something he loves, and he put out a list yesterday of for the 21st century, the worst college football hires. today he put out the best. But yesterday, the top 50 worst head coaching hires of the 21st century. Number one, and I'd a little bit had forgotten about it, and it is the gold medal winner of all time because he didn't make it to the starter blocks. 0-0 after having too much to drink, and it cost him his job on a wild night out down on the Gulf Coast. Number one, Mike Price at Alabama. I know, almost impossible to argue with. Some would have a debate. Yes, Hugh Freeze, 5 at Ole Miss. And in his interaction with his Twitter followers, it was nice, but it was blunt. Tell me how it ended.
That's the big thing. When I'm looking at this list, some of the people on there, I'm like, well, I don't think they were top 50 worst. I mean, at number 2, he's got Art Briles at Baylor. He had a lot of great years, but like just with Hugh Freeze, tell me how it ended. You can definitely make an argument that he left the program worse than he found it just due to the fact of the sanctions and everything that hit that Baylor football program and Baylor University, or the University of Baylor altogether with the scandals that they had to deal with. So if you look at it that way, when I first looked at the list, I was kind of approaching it as what you did on the field, and I think Art Briles did a lot of good on the field.
He did.
Just off the field,
like Hugh Freeze,
it wasn't good.
Like Bobby Petrino.
Yes.
But then at the end, was it all really worth it? That was kind of his question. We'll talk about that. He has Mike Haywood at 3, and that was just a really, really sad tale. He 0-0 at Pitt as he making the change from the staff at Notre Dame to Pitt. Had a domestic altercation, spent New Year's Eve in jail, and on New Year's Day he was handed his severance from Pitt. Pitt weighs in a couple of times, or could have weighed in a couple of times. Mike Shula at Alabama's on there. We'll do that at 4:30. At 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston. As always, on Thursday afternoon, Greg will be with us talking Tigers, and Shelby Mass from BracketWag.com at 5:30, talking on what what seedings and what the committee got right last weekend. And there's always, after the upsets of this team shouldn't have been there. Look, play through it is my opinion. Listening to Isaac Simpson on the happy hour with John Harden, I really know he's crushed today. Eloy Jimenez for the White Sox, basically out for the year. And the White Sox, as I've started doing my baseball predictions for next week, and I'm very much for them. I'm gonna call them my American League team because I love Tony La Russa. They were dealt a severe blow today.
Yeah, that was a really big blow. I think he's expected to miss 5 to 6 months with that surgery. And we talked about it a lot, especially when Tony La Russa got the job for the White Sox of all that great young talent. How is he going to kind of being an old head of baseball, going to be able to mix in with those young guys? But as far as talent goes, the White Sox might be one of the most talented teams in Major League Baseball. I mean, they're absolutely loaded. It's just, can they get every piece to come together for 162 and in the postseason?
Yeah, and that last year, again, I don't want to be the asterisk guy. In fact, on the asterisk on the NCAA basketball tournament talk and everything in sports, we've said it's been said before. It wasn't our original comment. Not an asterisk, gold star by what everybody's gone through. But that short sprint last year in baseball, the White Sox were right there. Didn't make much noise in the playoffs. And then they made the managerial change from Ron Renicky to Don Toney at 77 years young, trying to talk about the young man's racket. We were talking about Lon Kruger. Tony La Russa hadn't managed a game since winning Game 7 of the 2011 World Series. So we have a lot in store for you today. And look, tonight in the NIT, this weekend in the NCAA tournament, you need that handy FanDuel app. The NCAA tournament's down to just 16 teams. NIT tournament down to 8. So if you've been waiting from the sidelines, now is your chance to get in on the action. FanDuel Sportsbook. They can hook you up with exclusive 30-1 odds on all 16 teams left in the bracket, even the top seeds. That's right. New users, you get 30-1 odds on any team to win their next game coming up in this round. You can win $150 on a little old $5 bet. You got $5. You need that FanDuel app to win you $150. Razorback fans, take advantage of this. Bama fans, If you think the world's insufferable with Bama football, what if they win it all in basketball?
Goodness gracious.
All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and make your first deposit to unlock exclusive 30-1 odds. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get your cash in as little as 24 hours. Just sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager in designated offer market. $10 first deposit required. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour, every day, brought to you by the one and only Lexus dealership in town that is aptly named Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity March Spring Sales Event. Great offers on all 2021 models and always special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day, I actually have two. So the University of Memphis men's basketball team is back in action tonight for the quarterfinals of the NIT in Frisco, Texas against Boise State. Tip time is scheduled for 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN. If the Tigers win, they will face either Colorado State or North Carolina State in the semifinals on Saturday. Also, just real quick, top story of the day, happy Maryland Day to all of our Maryland-born or descendants of Marylanders like myself out there. So March 25th, the day that is worldwide known as Maryland Day.
Way to go, Marylanders. So give me who the Tigers play if they win. I think I blew that yesterday then, didn't I?
Colorado State or North Carolina State.
Okay, I blew it yesterday then. I said the winner of Western Kentucky Lou Tech, didn't I?
Yes, they are.
Did I say that?
They are on the other side.
Okay, I'm a little sleep deprived. Did I say that yesterday and did I blow it yesterday?
I think you did, but I didn't have my bracket. I have it in front of me now, so I know for a fact.
You should have given me the demerit. I get 2 for a day late demerit. Come on, Drew.
I'll forgive you.
So I can't bat. I didn't bat 1,000 yesterday, and now I can't bat 1,000 today. Batting 1,000 wrecked by 320.
You'll get it back tomorrow. Tomorrow.
My top story. NBA trade deadline with the Orlando Magic. Really a centerpiece team of it. A once young team building for next gen. And then they really couldn't get out of the 6 to 8 seed range. Now they're tearing down again. They're tearing down to the struts, down to the foundation. Sounds scary, doesn't it? Sounds a little bit haunting locally, doesn't it?
It does.
That's why it's got to work out with that young team, because then if it doesn't, you get familiarity breeds a little contempt. You're stuck. You're in no man's land, and you got to tear out. We don't want to see that happen here, but if it can happen in the 17th largest TV market, it can happen almost anywhere, and it can happen almost anywhere. The Knicks have been in it for 15 years.
The Lakers went through it for a couple of years. I mean, it can happen to anyone.
The Lakers went through it. Great point. The Lakers went through it. Is San Antonio kind of going through it now?
I think so. I mean, right now they're still technically in the playoffs for only one game ahead of the Grizzlies, holding on to that 8th seed. But with the LaMarcus Aldridge news that we knew was coming, obviously finalizing the buyout right now as we speak, it looks like it's all done, and who's to say this isn't the last year of Pop?
Well, let's hope, and it better. The Grizzlies' plan better work, but I don't really know what the plan is. We had a plan under Mike Heisley. We had the 3-year plan, and it was executed. I really don't know what this plan is.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day is the Memphis Grizzlies as they win in OKC last night, 116-107. Giannis Valanciunas, of course, finished with a double-double. Grayson Allen had 20 points and an incredible dunk to end the first half of the game last night, and Dylan Brooks led the team in scoring with 25 points. Like I just said, the Grizzlies are now only one game back from the Spurs, who sit in the 8th seed, and only a game and a half back from Dallas. So keep winning. You go the 3-1 like I talked about yesterday, getting the split in Utah, you could possibly be looking at knocking on the door of that 6 and getting out of the play-in.
Feels like the Grizzlies will at least be in the play-in. And don't let me forget to do this with Keith Smith. I want him to explain the play-in games. I think this is how it works, and I want to get him to explain it. 7 plays 8, and the winner's the 7, right?
I thought it was 7 plays 10, and 8 plays 9.
I don't think so. That's why I want to get clarification from him. I think it's 7 plays 8, and the winner of that will be the 7. Then the winner of 8-9 plays the 8, and that's the 8. I think we got to get that cleared up.
Yeah.
Because that's about as clear as mud as we just described it. My not top story, 1 week until start of baseball. Come on, get here. I'm so ready for it. Box scores in the day in, day out. To a lot of people, drudgery of a long season. It's what I love about it. 2 weeks from the first round of the Masters. The Masters today, even changing the health and safety protocols on testing for the Masters. Things are really loosening up. In between those 2 events will be a Final Four. In a month, we'll have an NFL draft. We're going to have a lot of spring football games. Our old baseball game analogy. Remember when we were doing that last year, Drew, and we were in the top of the 4th and the bottom of the – here's where I think we are now. We're close. Deuce is wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 13-12 lead in the bottom of the 18th.
Ooh, that's a long game. What are we knocking on, hour 6? For playtime?
For time?
For actual playtime.
Oh, no, that's about 6:06.
Yeah, and that is a long game.
If it's 18.
And is definitely a producer's nightmare. I've sat through something close to that before, and it ain't fun.
You've sat through that with the Redbirds in Tacoma with everything being Pacific time.
Yes, I did. So
and it being about 3:00 in the morning in the studios of WHPQ in the Family Leisure Studios, wasn't it?
It really was, and I hate that I almost did it to Shelby, but I almost fell asleep on him about 20 times. And I'm shocked I was able to drive home.
Yes, Steve Selby was still rolling at 3:00 in the morning, wasn't he? You know, when we had Steve on a few weeks ago, in the history of these airwaves as sports, not back to Sam and Dewey Phillips and the Elvis days and George Klein music days, in the sports days, which basically is from about 1992 on, I'm going to say Steve Selby was on the air at WHBQ more than any person.
I wouldn't doubt it, just for the matter of time built up and every game being around 3 hours, a half hour pregame, a half hour post. So, yeah, I mean, all those games, all those years.
Do the math on it. I mean, that's a lot of airtime. That's our top and not top story for this day. When we come back, we go to Dallas, and we talk to the voice of the Tigers. That's Dave Woloshin standing by in Dallas to talk with us on Sportstime.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
I'm John Conway with Conway Services. Is your home's main sewer line backed up? Do you have multiple plumbing fixtures in your home backing up? Better call the Rooter experts at Conway Services for our $99 main drain opening special with accessible cleanout. We'll come out and open the home's main drain for only $99. And if it should clog again over the next year, we'll come back and open it again for free. Springtime is when tree roots start growing, and many of them find their way right into your sewer line. We'll inspect your main sewer line using our state-of-the-art Rooter Vision camera system, all for only $99. That's right, Conway Services' $99 main drain opening special with accessible cleanout and a camera inspection. Trust the Rooter experts at Conway Services for all your drain and sewer needs. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. Your neighborhood Rooter experts.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Aren't you ready for March Markdown Madness? Wolf Chase Nissan's biggest ever March Markdown Madness event is happening now. Score big on our entire selection of new Nissans, certified pre-owned Nissans, and used cars in stock at Slam Dunk Savings, now for a limited time. Financing as low as 0% for well-qualified buyers with approved credit during this big event. Take your best shot at Slam Dunk Savings. You're sure to drive away a winner. WolfChaseNissan.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stotts. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
What I'm saying is this is the anthem. Throw all your hands up. Y'all got to feel me. Sing if you're with me.
Tigers tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN, but also you can hear Dave and the Tiger Radio Network crew, local, of course, against Boise State. 8 o'clock tonight. Boise State, one of those teams all year that we're kind of on the seesaw of in or out of the NCAA tournament, first 4, last 4, all that terminology. They didn't make that, but they won their first round game to get to this game to face the Memphis Tigers. And these two teams might be future conference mates. At some point, with American Athletic Conference expansion, for sure for football, it's obvious what Boise State would bring. For basketball, for all sports, it would bring a lot of budget difficulty, but you hope that football would allay that and make it more palatable to have them in the AAC. That's Mike Oresco's dream. That's about the nicest term we've used Mike Oresco's name in the last month or so around here. We go to Dallas. We go to Denton. We go to Frisco. We go to the Metroplex. We go to a former resident of the Metroplex, the voice of the Tigers and host of this show. And we're glad he got out of there and moved back to Memphis when he did in the late 80s after that 1 year. And no, you were not fired by Texas A&M, as Sean Tui always accused you of.
That is not good. So are you saying something that I have not heard yet today, that the American is talking about Boise coming in as a football school?
No. It's been rumored. It's been bandied about. And we just have talked about it. No, it's no new news. No.
Oh, you had me really excited there for a second. Because when we did have the commissioner on, and that was when we spoke of him in endearing terms, no longer.
We were still on speaking terms.
Yeah, or he was anyway.
Yeah,
he threw out the number 14, if you'll recall. So we started thinking, well, 14. That means at least 14 would play football probably, and maybe you'd get 12 that would be all sports. Who knows? But you're stuck at 11 right now for basketball. And I thought Mark Giannotto wrote an excellent article a couple of days ago pertaining to the perception that nationally the American Athletic Conference as a basketball league has. And he gave the perfect example, if you haven't read it, folks, that UConn has pretty much the same sort of resume that they had a year ago or 2 years ago, didn't get into the tournament, wasn't even thought about getting into the tournament, and here they are in the Big East getting a 7th seed. So the perception is that the American in football is a clear sixth best league in America behind the Power Five. There is a absolute space between the rest of the Group of Five and the American Athletic Conference. But in basketball, it clearly is below not only the Big East, which is clearly the sixth best league, but you can throw in maybe the Mountain West as being perceived by the league as a better league, and that the American has to do a better job of promoting its basketball and scheduling its basketball and talking to people about its basketball to change that perception. And I'm in agreement. Maybe it'll be the University of Memphis that can do it against the Mountain West team tonight when the Tigers take on the Boise State Broncos.
Yeah, hopefully the Tigers can survive and advance and hopefully win the whole thing. If you're going to be in it, you might as well win it. But going back to Mike Oresco and the blunders that he did with the scheduling and especially slights against the real or perceived against the University of Memphis, if the Tigers win the NIT, how big of a flag is Mike Oresco going to wave for that?
Well, I think he wants to make amends. I know he told some people in Memphis administration, we got to let bygones be bygones. Now, that's easy to say when you're the one that slighted the person, and the other party might not be quite as ready. But what else? What other choice at this point do you really have? You have to get along. You have to try to work together, and that is exactly what Memphis needs to do. They can start that by beating this team tonight and letting Oresco try to carry the hammer the rest of the way, and talk about this league in more glowing words than apparently the rest of the nation perceives it as. And honestly, if you go back, you can use this as a springboard. The Tigers did that in 2002. They did it in 2010. After they've made runs in the NIT, they have gone on to play in the NCAA tournament several times. If you look at Creighton, the last time Memphis was in, they won the first game. They lost at Creighton in the second game. It was a decent game for most of the game. Creighton was the better team, and they had the home court advantage, which, of course, there is none in this particular tournament now. But that was a springboard for them. The next tournament availability, here they are in the Sweet 16. So that is what you hope Memphis will use this as a springboard, as they have in the past. History does tend to repeat itself. We know that. And that, we hope, is what will occur for this team.
Yeah, and Dave, you look at this Elite Eight in the NIT. In the first game of the day, Mississippi State and Richmond, neither of those teams were really in a lot of first in, first out bubble talk.
No.
But NC State, Colorado State, they were. Boise, Memphis, we went over it. Memphis probably could have won, one game down the stretch, and they would have been in the tournament, and I think would have been a stiff challenge for a lot of these teams. We saw how the upset works, and then the last game tonight, Louisiana Tech, they're in Conference USA kind of one bid land against Western Kentucky. So both of them know the pitfalls of that.
Yeah, you're right. If you look at this Elite Eight, Boise
pretty
was
good.
Second in their league. Most of the people thought they would make the NCAA. Memphis, as you just mentioned, NC State has been the pick by most people that I've seen. When the bracket first came out, they thought they would advance at least to the Final Four. They got Colorado State tonight, even though Colorado State is a one seed. There's another team that was talked about. Mississippi State and Richmond, maybe not. Western Kentucky clearly was at one point in the year considered a team that would make the NCAA. Louisiana Tech, I think, surprised a bunch of people. They certainly surprised Ole Miss when Ole Miss had lost a couple of players. So it's an opportunity for visibility and for springboarding. And It's not a national title. I think all fans realize, and I understand that a little earlier today there was a caller, because Matt Dillon was on the show with Greg and Eli, that said, well, they'd rather win the NIT than just be a first-round casualty in the NCAA. Your goal is to make the NCAA.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, your goal is to make the NCAA. If you don't make the NCAA, then your goal is to win the NIT. But
That's
you would
right.
much rather
Goals
lose
change.
in the first. Right. You'd much rather lose in the first round of the NCAA than win the NIT. At least that is, I think, most people's way of thinking about this.
And I would much rather see the Tigers tonight against a Boise State. There's not one that would have existed, but it could have. I'd rather see them playing somebody new than having a Conference USA rematch like Lou Tech and Western Kentucky are having to do. At least the Tigers are
Right.
getting a fresh opponent, and one that, because of football and because of basketball success, people know about it. I mean, if the Tigers are on top tonight, I mean, it's not going to be on the front page of the New York Times tomorrow, but it's still going to be a good win.
No question, and I'm with you. I'd much rather face Boise, even though they're the number 2 seed, over SMU, which would have been a repeat of the American Athletic Conference. It would have been the rubber match. Actually, it would have been the third game that they didn't play because they did not meet in the AAC tournament. So I'm with you there. And look, today is March 25th. There are 16 NCAA teams, and there are 8 in the NIT still playing. You're one of 24, and I know you'd rather be in that 16, but you're still playing.
That's right, and we've been candid about it most of the week. It's the hand that's dealt. It's the third year that progress has been made, and of course, everybody wanted to be in the NCAA tournament, even if it was enduring a first round loss. That's always preferable. But the Tigers are still playing tonight. All right, on the court tonight, Dave. What are we going to see in this Boise State team?
You're going to see a team that loves threes. You're going to see a team that's got a lot of experience. You're going to see a team that can defend just like Memphis. They only give up 67 points. You'll see a team that lost to Houston first game of the year. They were in the game and fell way behind, made a furious comeback, and ended up losing by 10, but only gave up 68 points to a Houston team that then was fully stocked because they still had Mills at that time. You'll see a team, though, that is not at full strength. And Memphis will not have Alo. I mentioned that to you last night. This team is without a young man named Abu Kebab. And Kebab is their second best scorer, their second best rebounder, their top shot blocker, their top in steals. He's a main cog in this system. They're really hurt by his loss, more than Memphis's loss of Alo, in my mind. Then the second player they're without is the coach's son, a kid named Max Rice, who's good for a couple of threes per game. He averages 6. They're all from three-point range. He's like a poor man's Buddy Boeheim, to be honest with you. But he's also good at handling the ball. He can take on the pressure. That this team has not seen that much pressure. Now, they have a good ratio. They only turn the ball over about 11.5 times, but even their coach, Leon Rice, who, by the way, and I mentioned this the other day, spent 11 years at Gonzaga, first with Monson, then with Mark Few. He was the associate head coach when he left. That was 11 years ago. He's the all-time winningest coach at Boise State. And his kid was a guy that could handle pressure and understood exactly what that coach wanted. So those are two cogs that are missing. How they handle Memphis's pressure tonight, because even Leon Rice said, you can't really emulate what that pressure is like until you face it. You can't do it in your own practice because you don't have the pieces that Penny has. He's worried about that. And that is really tough because they've lost a couple of guys that could handle the ball that we'll see if these guys, and they got really big guards, 6'8", 6'5", 6'9". Derek Alston is their preseason conference player of the year, and he was all-conference this year, their leading scorer. He's a big guy. How well they handle the ball, that will be the critical thing tonight.
Dave, you brought up the fact that Boise State plays good defense, and obviously we know what kind of defense the Tigers bring night in and night out on the court. Is this a game that everybody should expect to be defensive heavy, below 60 points for both teams? Because if that's the case, Tigers haven't been that great track record-wise when they don't get above 65 and around that 70-point range. Is that something to worry about if it is a full-on defensive game?
I think it's a barometer. I think if you get to 70, you're probably going to win. That's what Memphis seems to do. If they get to 70 and above, they usually win the game. I think they'll hold Boise in check. Boise does score 76.5 points, but the Mountain West doesn't play the kind of defense. San Diego State does. Maybe Utah State a little bit. Those are the two teams, and Houston is the other good defensive team they faced. Otherwise, they've scored pretty readily. I think they will struggle with that a bit. I mean, they make threes, but they don't make them at a huge clip. They shoot them at 35%. Just so you know, Memphis has shot 40% since they won that Wichita State game, when it was sort of the turn around of the season after the 11 games, the 12th game. They've really shot the ball well. They've had 17 assists per game, and that's set up good shots, and they've shot 40% from three. So limiting the Broncos' threes will go a long way. And if they, like I say, if they hold them under 70 and you score 70, you're going to win the game.
Now, are you allowed to go to the first game?
Yes,
at the
I'm
site
going.
you're at? Okay,
yes,
good.
Yes. So I am going to go, and I will tell you, we went and did a little scouting of Comerica. So we're playing at North Texas tonight in Denton. But tomorrow, or I should say Saturday, 11 o'clock, if the Tigers win, they will play in Comerica. So we went to scout around, and I know this. We will actually, for the first time, be on the floor at Comerica if Memphis makes the semifinals and the finals. I do not know where we will be in Denton, but I will know approximately 4:30 today.
You got time for two more questions, or you need to?
Oh yeah,
book
yeah, no. I'm good until we leave. Till
okay,
4:20,
okay.
4:25.
First thing I want to ask you is, you mentioned the prospect of playing not one but two going forward after night, but also we know this is the time of year where, Dave, it ends in cruel style. You're gung ho for more tournament, for more play, for maybe two more games, or NCAA teams are ready for the Elite Eight. And with that loss, the tears flow, and it's over. You pack up and go home. That's rough. Basketball ends. Football, you see the finish line. Basketball, you don't really know where the finish line is.
It's a sudden ending. The only thing I can tell you is I had two different coaches that I asked, and we've had access to the coaches here for the first time too, where you could sort of see them and mingle with them a little bit. And two different coaches said to me, this team has a chip on its shoulder. This team thinks it should have been in the NCAA. This team understands why it didn't, but it really wants to prove something in this NIT. They want to win this tournament. I didn't think that might be the case after the first half of that game with Dayton, but if you look at the intensity and the way they played defense and got things going, and in particular Lester Quinones in the second half of that game with Dayton, they looked like a team that did want to win, and that was reinforced by coaches yesterday, and that came after what they said was an outstanding practice. So I do think Memphis wants to win this tournament. We'll take it step by step is all you can do, and we'll see again tonight against the team. The Boise team is pretty good. Again, they were picked second in the Mountain West to begin the year. They had the preseason conference player of the year. They won their first, after they lost to Houston, they won 13 games in a row. COVID kind of interrupted their momentum a little bit too, and now these two injuries have really hurt them. And that might be a break for Memphis. You never know. But if Memphis gets there, then they take on either NC State or
Colorado State.
Yeah. And as I said earlier, even though NC State is the third-seeded team, most people, they're, I think, a 1-point favorite over Colorado State today.
Last thing, for the voice of the Memphis Tigers, Dave Woloshin, host of this show, and he might or might not be back with us tomorrow, but he'll definitely be back at some point on Monday after the Tigers.
I am kind of shooting for 5:30 tomorrow. That's my goal. Either way,
we got Andy Shipman at 5:30. Remember, he had to change on the fly this week.
How about we try to make it at? Can I make it at 5 if we can?
You got it. We'll book you at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Dave, the next thing is comment kind of assignment, because I know you've got good sourcing. Get us some good info on next year's non-conference opponents before you leave Dallas.
I will try to do that. I would have to think that games that were supposed to take place this year, that means Ole Miss, that means Tennessee, that means St. Louis University. Mm-hmm. I would have to think those three are on the docket. I think Penny wants to continue to try and play Arkansas. I don't know what his relationship is like with Eric Musselman, but that would be a great regional game that I know Penny wants, and I can't imagine that Eric Musselman would not want to play that particular
Please book it.
game.
Yes, everybody wants that at both sides.
Yeah, and heck, I mean, throw Mississippi State in there. Yeah, it's pretty clear. Memphis has to have, even if they lose some, they've got to have some Power 5 Quad 1 opportunities. And if you schedule enough of them, you'll get some at home where you can win some of them. Remember, all of the opportunities this year were going to be on neutrals. Tennessee was supposed to be on a neutral.
Nobody you just named has the gravitas to demand home only against the Tigers. None of those teams you just named. That's all home and home or lose our number. Dave, you don't lose our number. You keep our number. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 5. Have a good one tonight. It'll be a late night, but it'll be a fun night if it's the thrill of victory. If it's not, we'll put a wrap on this year, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Talk to you tomorrow.
You got it. Dave Волошин on the road with the Tigers back in Dallas-Fort Worth, where they've been a lot lately. When we come back, we'll shift gears. We'll go to the NBA team in town. We'll talk some Grizzlies. That's next on Sportstime.
Get your fill of sports for lunch every weekday on Sports 56 Middays with Greg and Eli. The latest sports talk, sought after guests, your calls and texts, prize giveaways, and more every weekday from 10 to 1 on Sports 56.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models, each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today, shop our aggressive lease and finance options now, luxury is waiting at Acura of Memphis, or shop online 24/7, visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you got some deals over there that'll blow me away at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You better believe it, Randy. I've got a 2021 Kia Forte $135 a month lease.
That's less than $5 a day for a new car at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Plus a 2021 Kia Soul redesigned inside and out $149 per month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5 $179 per month lease. 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
Plus they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte NE 319,491, MSRP $20,625, sold M775597, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 3/31/21, dealer stock only.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
If it were a normal 82-game schedule, well, the Grizzlies would be at the halfway point. I think you'd take 21-20 if they were playing out 82, only playing 72 this year, and sure will take 21-20 as the Grizzlies win last night by 9, 116-107 in Oklahoma City against the Thunder in a game that they just about had to win, and they did. It was mostly in control most of the night, Drew.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, especially in the second half, I mean, they just did not let up. I think they were down by, 6 going into halftime, and then just came out in the second half and never looked back. And honestly, the crazy thing about it is, honestly, it's a great thing, it wasn't Ja Morant's best night. It wasn't the typical 25, 7, 5 from Ja, and you were
a rough stat line,
you were still able to get the win. And I mean, Grayson Allen probably, if not the best game of the year, top 5 for sure.
MVP of the game. He had to do.
Oh,
he had to be the walk-off with Rob, didn't he?
Oh, for sure. And
I didn't catch it. Did you?
I believe he
was Cap City for me at that point.
Yeah, I believe he was the walk-off interview, but he had a great game.
Yeah,
and of course,
Anthony Melton with, again, 17 minutes, 14 points, and just continues in that reserve role. And I think he's one of the classic guys. Just ask him to do that. Don't ever try to ask him to be a 30-minute guy.
Yeah, I think he's good in his role, and he knows his role now, and it's okay to be one of those guys. There's nothing wrong with
the fifth outfielder.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with being a role player. It's all about, especially in a sport like basketball where it is a team sport, not everybody can be the one guy. Not everybody can be the second option. Sometimes you can really have a lot of great value by being that good off-the-bench guy that plays 17 to 22 minutes, is able to get every now and then in double digits, helps you shooting the 3 ball. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of longevity types of careers with guys that do that.
One of those guys got traded today, Lou Williams. He's made a career of being off the bench and coming in and just stroking threes. And that last night with a lot of minutes played for guys off the bench. Brandon Clark with 26 minutes, Desmond Bain with 24 minutes, and Justice Winslow with 22. Where are you on Justice Winslow? Still a small sample size?
Still a small sample size, I guess. It's been kind of a roller coaster for me. At the start, he was kind of down. Then he had a couple good games, and then he kind of plateaued a little bit. Now he's gone down just a bit. I mean, 9 points. There's nothing to scratch your head, nothing to shake your head at. Did have 7 rebounds, though, in the game, so still giving you productivity coming off the bench. Would like to see him, evolve and become into that possible starter type of player, but still just too soon to say, and I just don't think he's really gotten his legs under him yet.
Earlier I gave myself a demerit for messing up who the Tigers would play. We only playfully and jokingly give out demerits on era of fact, not era of opinion. But I had one in closing last night in opinion. It was so far off, I'm almost deserve a half demerit. The Jazz and the Nets was nothing to watch.
Yeah, it wasn't, and that was a crazy thing. You see those two lineups, those two records, and that's the result that we got.
It wasn't even close.
No.
And what the Jazz, what they showed last night is if we see you come late July, you're going to have to play some defense against us.
They really are. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, how does a team like Brooklyn lose by 30 points last night? I mean, just goodness.
29 or so, yeah, up there, yeah, close, yeah.
Yeah, and Utah, I mean, I think has firmly supplanted themselves, especially with that big of a win over Brooklyn, as the team to beat, the number 1 team in the NBA.
70236 at the First Bank text line. That was another demerit yesterday. I had a lot more than I thought. 70236 First Bank text line, 360-8255 First Bank phone line. Interesting text, and I didn't catch this today with Matt, but Matt stated today with Greg and Eli on Sports 56 middays that the Tigers' winning percentage under Penny after 3 years is 56%. Texter asks, is that good? Well, it's not bad.
Not terrible.
I didn't answer his question, though, did I?
No, and honestly, I'm kind of shocked it's that low. I would have thought it had been somewhere around the 65 mark. through the 3 years?
But I know Matt's right. I don't even have to check.
Of course, Matt Dillon's always right. I mean, if there's one person you don't argue a stat with, it would be the professor himself, Matt Dillon.
No, I'm not going to. But we know next year, at this time next year, there has to be zero NIT bracketology talk, and the NCAA tournament conversation going into it is seeding. Is it a 6? Is it a 9? Is it a 10? It maybe even is it Dayton, but and not talking. It's been way too much NIT and NIT bracketology talk.
There really has, and I take that even further. 365 days to now. We're talking about going into the second weekend of the tournament. Does it have to be the Tigers still in the tournament at that point, or are we fine with the round of 32?
I don't think so. Frankly, I'd be fine with the round being in the field.
Even playing game? Talking 11 seed?
Yeah, kind of first things first and then building from there because it is incremental. As I said the other day, a lot of these programs, it's coaches that built somewhere else. And Coach Hardaway really, getting his big-time coaching spurs kind of won in his first job, and that's tough to do. When we come back, we start hour number 2, and we do it talking NBA with Keith Smith. That's next on Sportstime.
When you're hunting for small game or big game or thinking of selling your home, think about Sheldon Rosengarten and Hugh Mallory.
That's right, Sheldon. We're with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and while I'm often successful when I go hunting, I heard you're such a lousy golfer they've banned you from some courses.
Very funny, Hugh. I may be a horrible golfer, but I have a highly successful strategic marketing program with the famous Shellbucks option that takes up most of my practice time. My clients would much rather see me sell their home than hit a hole-in-one.
Sheldon, you're normally about 5 strokes away from a hole-in-one. That's on a par 3.
Yeah. Remember, don't tee off with any agent. Talk to 2 or 3 and let you, Mallory, and me be one of them. Remember what people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon. And Mallory Moves Memphis. That's Sheldon Rosengarten and you, Mallory, at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now, 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
It's happening again at Family Leisure. Don't miss out again this summer because pools are going fast. Spas in stock now, too, and they're ready for delivery. New 2021 patio furniture, state-of-the-art in stock now, and up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation available. The temperature's rising, and so is the service at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Mid-South Hobbies has your favorite model airplanes, boats, race cars, and trains to build. With brands you know like Lionel, LGB, and a large selection of Traxxas radio-controlled trucks, cars, and boats. Mid-South Hobbies has all the accessories to make them complete, with thousands of paint colors to make them shine. Reach the sky with rockets and kites, or reach deep into your imagination with action figures, comic book superheroes, and fantasy quest games. Get passionate about your hobby at Mid-South Hobbies, 4862 Summer Avenue.
I almost never go to Central Barbecue without running into somebody I know.
That could be because you only eat at Central Barbecue.
It's because Central Barbecue is where Memphians go to get barbecue and has consistently been voted the most popular barbecue restaurant among locals.
Actually, that's really saying something.
I know. Memphis is the nation's capital of barbecue. With all the choices, people who live here go to Central Barbecue.
They do get their share of tourists.
Sure, because Central Barbecue has been mentioned on TV and in tons of national publications. You know why?
Because of the great food?
Because those TV shows and magazines look for the place where the locals go, and that, my friend, is Central Barbecue.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Hour 2 begins on this Thursday afternoon. 2 hours ago, the NBA trade deadline, it came and went. There was a lot of activity. Now buyout season starts. The Grizzlies did nothing. They were never going to make a big splash, but I was thinking maybe move some money, maybe something for more down the road in a year or two when it's a little more go for it time. But they stood still, and at 21-20 after a win last night, not a big surprise to most following the NBA. The Orlando Magic, they put out the everything must go sale. They didn't close the business, but everything's got to go. It was fire sale time in Orlando. That was expected, and they did it. To talk with us about it, Keith Smith joins us on Thursday afternoons during the NBA season from Yahoo Sports, and it is a lot of fun every week to visit with Keith. You can follow him on Twitter, must NBA follow, at Keith Smith NBA, and he was all over it today. So give us your overview of it all, the winners, the losers, the bigger names, and the bigger names that weren't dealt.
Yeah, it was a very, very busy deadline. We had I want to say the final tally was something like 13 to 15 trades. There were a couple small ones in there. I don't know if they get worked into multi-team trades or yet not. The NBA right now is still processing trade calls. That's why we're not hearing, and seeing teams release a lot of things in the light. Yet that won't happen until trades are official and signed off on. So that'll take well into the evening tonight to that many things. But winners and losers, there were a lot of teams that did really, really well for themselves today. I think the Orlando Magic, you were talking about them. They really tore it down and said, all right, you know what, we're going to kind of start this thing over. We're going to really rebuild around youth and get things moving in that direction. And they did well. The Denver Nuggets going and getting Aaron Gordon and JaVale McGee, that really rounds out their rotation, puts them they were already contenders in the West, but even higher up the list. Chicago getting Nikola Vucevic was a big trade. That's going to push them up a little higher. They also had a nice depth move for Daniel Tice and Troy Brown. On the other side of things, Toronto traded away Norman Powell. They didn't get a Kyle Lowry deal done. The Houston Rockets, their return for James Harden really doesn't look very good now that they traded Victor Oladipo just kind of for a couple of expiring contracts. So it's a tough day for those teams.
Speaking of Chicago, do you think the moves that they made today is going to get them out of that 10 seed that they're currently sitting at in the East and make them a playoff team? A surefire playoff team. Like, we know they're in the play-in, but...
Yeah, I don't know that they'll get up to the 6th seed or not. They're still going to get past Indiana, Boston, Atlanta, New York to get there. So maybe they're not that far out. They're only a couple games out. I think it's 2.5 games away, a couple games in the loss column. So they can definitely get in the mix for that. The challenge is it's going to take a couple, probably a good 2-3 weeks for these guys to get in and get settled. And that's kind of tough because now then you're right into the stretch run with what a grind this season is. So it's going to be a little hard for them to get there. But the good news is they should kind of be comfortable in peaking by the time they get there, and maybe they can make that run in the play-in tournament.
Keith, what Orlando had to do this year and largely today and going forward is a little bit scary for some of us here in Memphis that we're waiting for this young nucleus, next gen, as it's promoted and advertised by the marketing department. And I understand that because we know it's not right now and it's kind of for the future. But here are the parallels that scare me and some differences that scare me. Number one, Orlando, 17th largest TV market in the league. Is that right, 17?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're 17 The Grizzlies are way down that pecking order. So this doesn't all come together. It doesn't all work right. And you get it at contract time, and you get it familiarity has bred a little contempt time, and you want to shake things up. It scares me in a few years that if it doesn't all work for the Grizzlies, they could be where they are today.
Yeah, it could be. I think the Grizzlies are better stocked with higher-end players than Orlando was. Orlando never was able to land that one guy that you felt like, this is our franchise guy. We're building around this guy moving forward. They do not have a John Morant. They never even really had a Jaren Jackson Jr. level of player on their team, and that's where Orlando gets stuck. Even in the bad years, they never had any kind of lottery luck. They never got higher than, I think it was the 5th pick. Then they had some short-sighted moves by the prior front office. This front office did well to work within what they were left and kind of rebuild this team into being at least a playoff team. But I think what's important is they recognize today, or at some point in this week, pushing to get to the 7th and 8th seed is just not enough. They want to be better than that, so they tore it down, and they're going to be rebuild around their guys that are coming back.
With rebuilds starting to go on in the NBA, who do you have more faith in rebuilding? Is it Orlando or is it Steven Silas and the Houston Rockets? Because obviously with Oladipo moving on to Miami, Steven Silas ain't got nothing.
Yeah, I have more faith that Orlando is going to come out of this on the other side better than the Rockets are. They've got better assets coming their way. They've got much better young talent. I love Christian Wood. I think Kevin Porter's a good player, but beyond that, you can't convince me there's a single player on that Rockets team that'll be part of their next good team that's in the playoff mix. Where with Orlando, you've got Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz. Those guys will come back. Wendell Carter Jr., somebody a lot of people still like and I think can really play. R.J. Hampton's a player that a lot of people are high on, and they've got all sorts of draft picks coming their way, and they should be at least as good, if not better, than the ones Houston got for James Harden. So Houston's just in a tough place. That return for James Harden now really doesn't look very good.
Keith Smith, our guest, talking NBA. He covers the NBA for Yahoo Sports, and he's with us every Thursday. Keith, is it a trade deadline rule that he gets dealt on trade deadline day and then dealt again before rosters are set, before camp starts? DeLon Wright, always. He's in a deal every year.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like that. Yeah, he was sent from the Pistons to the Kings last night. So, Kings are happy to have him. They wanted to upgrade that backup point guard spot as they're going to start moving towards Tyrese Halliburton, playing more off the ball next to De'Aaron Fox. So they may even start Halliburton, Fox, and Hield for the rest of this season. They've been doing that recently, and they may stick with that the rest of this year now. And if that's the case, they needed another backup combo guard, and they wanted somebody with a little bit more size. So getting DeLon Wright is a good get for them. I think he's a player who's going to fit in and do well in Sacramento. He's one of those guys. No one's jumping for joy when you acquire him, but when you have him, you're perfectly happy with him.
Staying out there in California, Rajon Rondo going back to L.A., this time part of the Clippers, for Lou Williams going home to Atlanta. Is Rondo can he still be a factor? Can he still be a piece that takes you from a championship hopeful in the Clippers to maybe a championship contender?
We'll see. The hope is that he catches that lightning in the bottle he found with the Lakers, and he was very good in their finals run last year. And the sense is Rondo at this point in his career just kind of plays through the regular season, and then he's going to be there in the playoffs when you need him. And that's what the Clippers are hoping for. They were phasing Lou Williams out anyway. They were starting to not use him as much. They were using Reggie Jackson more than him. They still got Patrick Beverly. They just needed one more guy who's more of a true point guard, especially with Beverly being out. And that's what Rondo is. Williams has never really been a point guard. He's point guard size, but he's always been a scorer. Mm-hmm. So now they're really, I think, at this point, looking at it and saying, all right, well, we're going to move forward with what we've got, and that's going to be where we go with this guy moving forward. The Hawks side of the one is that I don't really get why they would want Lou Williams. He doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them. We'll see. It sounds like he's going to stick there in Atlanta, but there is a chance, maybe he gets bought out at some point.
I was prepared today, Keith, to ask you this question. A player as good as he is, and just in his fourth year, why 3 teams for Lonzo Ball? But I don't have to ask you that.
Yeah, no, they hung on to him. They were going to, make a move, but they ultimately, hung in there. They decided not to, make a trade. It sounds like, from all accounts, the Pelicans just never really got the offer that they were looking for Lonzo Ball. So they'll roll that into the off season, see what kind of offers he get, and they're still kind of in control of that process because they have the ability to match any offer that he receives.
Somebody that also, I know I asked you about this a couple of weeks ago, just due to how high his stock has been this year. Should Washington have gotten rid of Bradley Beal? Should they have tried to do something today?
It would have been hard because of it's just hard to make a trade that big in season. It's you can do that when you do the James Harden deal. Harden is one of the best 5 to 7 players in the league. Beal's just a notch below that. So that's where it gets a little tricky to make that kind of trade. They could have, but I think what you're more likely to see is let's reevaluate this deal or let's reevaluate Beal's future in the offseason, see what it looks like. If they get blown away then, maybe they make a move. But I think for the most part, Beal has consistently said he wants to be with the Wizards. The Wizards have said they don't want to trade him, and I don't think you're going to see them, look to move on from him even this offseason. I think they're going to do everything they can to build a winner around Bradley Beal.
Keith, you tweeted it earlier today, and it's a fact. The West just got tougher, and that always seems to be the case, whether it's after free agency or after draft or after trade deadline or whatever. It never, ever abates. It's always difficult.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things that ends up, continuing to add to the imbalance is when a team in the West is bad, they're usually very, very bad because they get pushed way down by all the other good teams, which then gives them a high draft pick, which then moves them forward if they hit on that draft pick. And then it just kind of repeats where the East teams never end up necessarily all that bad because they're more tied together in mediocrity. It's rare to see an East team really, truly bottom out. There's a couple that are doing that. Orlando's clearly going to do that now. Detroit has done that this year. But that's what starts to create that. And then the West has a lot of attractive markets. They have a lot of really well-run teams. The East is starting to get there. They're closing the gap a little bit, especially at the top of the conferences. But, as long as the big markets in the East, like New York and Chicago, have struggled, it's hard for the East to build and get to a point where they are as close to the West in terms of depth in the conference overall.
Well, Miami seems to be making moves, obviously, with the Oladipo. Now the talk about LaMarcus Aldridge and his buyout for the Spurs. How much better does he make Miami, who's kind of struggled this year after the finals appearance last year?
Yeah, they have. I think Oladipo will help them, and I think this was what I like to call a free agency move where they went and got him versus trying to sign him as a free agent this offseason. Now they traded a couple of expiring deals. They don't have to clear cap space to go get him. They can hang on to their other guys. I think what is more interesting with the Heat is what do they do up front? Bam Adebayo is now kind of their only real big rotation guy left on the roster. Precious Achiuwa is there, but he's an unproven rookie. He's been in and out of the rotation all year. They added Nemanja Bjelica, but he's not a true big. He's more of a shooting forward. So what you're going to ultimately see is that's why they want to get in on a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge, because I think what is really important for them is that they add another guy with size, especially somebody that can maybe anchor a second unit as a scorer from the big line. So we'll see. That's why they're going to push hard for Aldridge.
Keith, we feel like we know the Grizzlies are firmly in the play-in scenario, and with a good push could get into the protected seat area. Explain to our listeners exactly how 7, 8, 9, and 10 get sorted out.
Yeah, sure. So what happens this season, it is not like it was last year. It's very different. Teams 1 through 6 are certain playoff teams they will be in. Then 7 and 8 play each other. 9 and 10 play each other. The winner of 7 and 8 becomes the 7th seed. The winner of 9 and 10 advances to the second round of the play-in to play the loser of 7 and 8. So what happens there, then that winner becomes the 8th. 7 or 8, you only need to win once to get into the playoffs. If you are 9 or 10, you need to win twice to get into the postseason.
Okay, we were a little foggy on that. You helped me with a tweet you sent out explaining to someone. I think the league needs to get out there and explain that a little better.
Seems a little too complicated.
They did send a string of tweets out, but I think it got kind of lost because I think it was over the All-Star break. They sent them out. I would expect probably when we're a month or so out, you'll see a campaign to really kind of explain how the play-in works.
Because in that scenario, if the Grizzlies got into the 8th, that would and then could pull the upset, beat the 7, and then they're safe as the 7 seed, right?
Correct. Yeah, if you're 7 or 8 and you win that 7-8 playing game, you're in 7. Even if
2 out of 3,
that,
right?
You still have a leg up because you only got to win one.
But 2 out of 3, and that's 7 versus 8, right?
Nope, it's one game.
Gee,
Okay.
you definitely
one
want
game.
that.
One game in each of those.
All right, the Lakers. How much trouble are they in? LeBron-less, AD-less.
Yeah, they're going to slide in the standings. I think Denver's probably going to catch him past them. LeBron said today, I believe it was Shams Charania reported, it looks like he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So they're going to be in trouble. We'll see if Portland can catch them. I don't think Dallas will. Dallas is 4 games back. That's a big chunk of games to make up. But I think the Lakers, they'll probably still finish top 6 in the West, but it's going to be tough, and they've made their road a little harder on themselves. They're not overly worried about home court advantage and who's in front of them because they feel like when healthy, they've got LeBron, they've got Anthony Davis, they've got some good role players that they can push forward. But they are no longer the predominant favorite that they might have been at one point to come out of the Western Conference, and definitely not to win the title overall. It's a different kind of environment with the Lakers with these injuries.
Do you think that as of right now, sitting here March 25th, that Utah is and should be the overwhelming favorite to win the finals right now?
No, I don't think so. I think they should be in the mix, but not an overwhelming favorite. I don't know that they are that much better than the Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, healthy Lakers. I think they should be in the mix, but I think you can give those 5 teams, almost even odds come out of the West. And I think Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn, you can give about even odds come out of the East. I know Brooklyn, we'll see what Brooklyn looks like when they're, fully together. And they have Durant, Harden, and Irving. Are they such an unstoppable offensive machine that it doesn't really matter? We'll see, but I think Milwaukee and Philly are right there with them. And then in the West, you could tell me any one of those 5 teams out of Utah, Phoenix, Clippers, Lakers, and Denver is going to come out of the West, and I'd have no problem believing it.
What do you think Boston did for itself? Pretty good with Fournier, right?
They did okay with Evan Fournier. It was the second trade is where it started to kind of fall all apart. They gave up Daniel Theis. And that move was made solely to avoid the luxury tax, and that's really tough for the Celtics. They are now going to move forward with Robert Williams and Tristan Thompson as the lone big. That's not the end of the world. Williams has been playing well. Thompson's had a nice season, but they lost a lot in Daniel Theis. He was a big part of their starting group being switchable. Despite he missed a potential game winner last night, but he's a pretty good shooter. He works well in pick and roll, so that's a pretty big loss. Fournier is a pretty big upgrade, should help them on the wing, but at best they're probably about even. It's long term that the challenge come in for the Celtics because Fournier is an expiring contract. There's no guarantee he's going to stay in Boston, so it's a little less bright of a future for the Celtics than it has been in any recent year.
5-game Thursday night schedule for the NBA. Always a lot of quality games. I threw this out yesterday. I think the last postponement came February 28th. NBA on a roll, getting all these games in, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And now that we're seeing many teams are starting to go forward and get vaccinated, The NBA feels really confident that they're going to get through the rest of this season. They know they're going to miss. Players may miss games here and there due to the health and safety protocols. They don't think they'll have any more postponed games for the like. We're now starting to get out of the bad weather as well. That's always a concern. So they feel pretty good that this schedule will get played out the rest of the way. What's going to be interesting tonight and tomorrow, with so many trades and so many teams making big trades that involve multiple players, you're going to see some really funky lineups on the court for some of these teams over the next couple of nights. It's going to get a little bit messy. It might look like that Nuggets team that played 4 centers and 1 guard at the beginning of the bubble. We might see some goofiness like that over the next couple of days.
Check your scorecard, some new names and some new places, but it does. It looks like everyone will get 72 games in. So now I can start referring to the all-important loss column again because everybody's going to play the same number of games, Keith Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you're going to see a 72-game season get completed without question. I think that everybody's going to be right there at the end of the year. It's going to be a grind for the Grizzlies and Spurs, like we talked about, 40 games in 68 days in the second half of the season. But they're going to get there. They're going to complete this thing, get this done by the middle to end of May, and then into the play-in tournament they've got scheduled right now.
Keith, thank you for your time today. A lot of great information. I know it's been a busy day for you and into a busy night, but I know you love it, and we'll visit next week about the NBA with you. Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me. I'll stay safe, you and yours.
Thanks, Keith.
You got it. Keith Smith with us every Thursday afternoon talking all things NBA. 70236, the text line. Texter texts in. Penny's won about 65% of his games at Memphis, and that's correct.
That's kind of where I said. I thought he would be around the 65, 68% mark. So
you did. Texter says 65%, 652 exactly if you go the baseball batting average. Texter also continues, says Josh won right around 70% and was chased out of town.
It's a little different. Come on.
Yeah.
We're in year 3, not year 6, 7.
Was Josh chased out of town? He was not fired. Georgia Tech courted him. Mike Babinski called with the formal courtesy procedure if we would like to pursue your coach. I don't think many people resisted it. I don't think many people minded it. Nobody was laying in front of the train track with him on the car bound for Atlanta. But I don't know, chased out. And that's a little semantical. I'm sorry, Texter.
Maybe not chased out. Nudged, maybe just given like a, hey, Atlanta's pretty nice of a town. You know,
go get him, Josh. Thanks for the memories.
Rambling Record, Georgia Tech, here you come, right?
Maybe, but
nobody was sad. It wasn't a sad day.
No, it was people happy, and he would be right about that. And again, I'm parsing one word. And I'm sorry that to do that to nice texture. I really am, but because he might have been, he might be right. It was nobody fighting to keep him.
Nobody was fighting to keep him. But I don't think there was a huge campaign to run him out of town.
No, because the budget at the time they just could not. They were glad
all those extensions.
Georgia Tech called. They were so glad Georgia Tech called. Now, of course, in hindsight, now Toby Smith was the wrong hire, but I know why it was made because University of Memphis officials, the most powerful sports business interests people around town, thought it was slam dunk into the Big 12.
Yeah, and they wanted somebody coming from Big 12 experience.
And so close, you didn't want to rock the boat with anyone, say, like a Will Wade type that was edgy. You didn't want that to – no, we don't want you in because we know the guy you just hired in basketball is going to come in here and cheat and embarrass us. And from all I'm told, that it was Oklahoma. It was OU that said, no way. Yeah. No way Memphis is coming into our league.
And that just – because at the time, reporting around town, not even just a rumor mill, I mean, people – about ready to go 100% on the record, live on air, pen to paper on the newspaper. We're this close to making the announcement. Memphis will be joining the Big 12, and then the rug got cut underneath our feet at the last second.
Really did. And remember, they threw out some of those possibilities, including Rice going in.
Oh, God.
And the teams that they were courting and maybe coveting, but smartest people I know, and it's sure not me, the smartest people I know around town were telling influential people.
Yes, I was doing the same thing.
And we know that FedEx stepped up big with that package to be the title presenting sponsor of the Big 12 championship football game. I mean, just about every single box was checked. No, Tubby didn't work out. Tubby was really ready for a retirement job, and that's not now and has never been the Memphis job. John Calipari showed you've got to stay working as hard on the Memphis job in the 8th year as you do on the 8th day.
You really do. And I think Tubby, from all reports, seems very happy back at his alma mater at High Point, where it especially at his age, it is much more of a slower paced job. It's not as demanding. You don't have boosters and fans breathing down your neck. So if he wants to continue coaching and just doing it for the love of the game and to help raise boys into young men, then more power to him. But I think right now,
we need hair on fire.
Yeah, you've got to go out and hit the ground running. There's no leisurely pace allowed around the University of Memphis basketball program.
Yeah, this is not a good walk spoil. No. This is you've got to sprint and you've got to work hard. And Coach Hardaway's done that. There's so many things he's done really well, but the biggest thing is you got to win some big games. You got to get in the tournament. And I feel like that is on the way. Yeah, I don't think it's any time to get weak-kneed now on Coach Penny Hardaway. When we come back, we're going to go over our college football list of the 21st century worst hires in college football from our buddy with the great Twitter site, Big Game Boomer. And he gave us the permission to do it, so we're going to do it. That's next on Sports Time.
Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta, snow crabs, king crab, dungeons, and more. Don't forget about the calamari, shrimp, and lobster. The portion, the price, the taste. Only at Crab King. Visit us at crabkingtn.com. Crab King Seafood and Pasta. East Memphis location now open till midnight for carry-out. Memphis favorites.
Hey, I heard that you just got a new car.
Yes, I sure did, and I could not believe how simple it was.
Really? Tell me what happened.
I bought my car at Cars Inc. They are family owned, and the choices of cars were the best I've ever seen. They even said they could price match with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they are doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Cummington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
I'm Kelly Erb. Sheldon Rosengarten and I are both with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and our clients often ask us how we are finding the real estate market right now.
Kelly, we've been in a great market environment for quite a while. If someone hadn't sold their home by now with a low inventory and high activity level, there have to be issues that need to be addressed.
Correct. Usually before we go on the market, we advise people on preparation, presentation, and proper pricing. With that and our highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option, our clients' odds of selling their home are increased quicker and at a better price.
Yes, that is why we also suggest that people talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure and call us. It can mean the difference in whether they sit on the market or sell. That's why people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
That's right. You can reach Sheldon Rosengarten or me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now, 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
on.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave back with us tomorrow at 5, win or lose with the Tigers tonight. If they win, they will be guaranteed at least 2 more games, either into the finals or into the consolation game after they play the semifinal game down to 8 in the NIT. It's a little bit confusing, isn't it? And
yes, it is.
The Tigers, if they lose, it's over, and it will end, sadly, down in Dallas in the NIT, and it'll be on to next year. I love anybody. I think people know me well enough to know that I am pretty passionate about this, about sports, and certainly about college football and other things, but certainly about college football. And I love seeing people, whatever it is. Our friend Shelby Mass is going to join us from bracketwag.com. I mean, you can feel how much he loves the sport of college basketball. Blake Lovell, you can feel how much he loves it from Blue Ribbon Magazine. In college football, I discovered this Twitter site. I'm not saying I agree with everything, every list he puts out and every comment he puts out, but a lot of them I do. And it's a Twitter site. It's Big Game Boomer and here's his Twitter site, at ATL_Boomer1990, Edmond, Oklahoma. And I love his passion for college football. And I like, Drew, that he's keeping it, a lot of these lists, to the 21st century. Best quarterbacks, best running backs, best hires, worst hires, best rivalries. He's keeping it to the 21st century because now, marching into 2021 football season, it's more than it's a big old sample size. We've developed a lot in the 21st century. One thing, we've seen the transition out as superpower Nebraska. We've seen back in, after being out for a while, Alabama. Well, he did a list, and I sent it to you yesterday, and I said, let's discuss it. I asked him for permission. He was glad to do it. I think he's listening right now. We want to get him on because I like anybody with passion, and if they got passion, I know they bring it and make for interesting radio. And he said we could, and here's his list. Worst head coaching hires of the 21st century. We talked about it earlier, and it was sad how it ended. And when you go to your athletics director and in front of your chancellor and your excuse is, I was too drunk, I don't remember anything that happened. There's not much left they can do. And that's what.
But there's one thing you can't call him. You can't call him a liar. He was honest and upfront about it, I guess.
They said he looked square at Mal Moore and at I think Dr. Witt at the time, and said, I'm sorry, I was just too drunk. I can't remember a thing. Well, that made it easy for Alabama at 0-0 to fire a good man who had won big at Washington State. Mike Price is one. Art Briles is two. And the person at this site defends these rankings of how did it end. Don't go Olympic platform diving and kind of have the high and the low. How did it end? And it's unarguable that so far for these, it ended very, very poorly. Mike Price 1, Art Briles 2, Mike Haywood 3, George O'Leary at Notre Dame, that's another 0-0. Mike Haywood was 0-0. Hugh Freeze, number 5. DJ Durkin, current Ole Miss defensive coordinator and a fine football coach, but how did it end at Maryland? It was not DJ's fault. It was not. He was not in charge of the offseason, but it was his program.
And that's the problem. When you're the head coach, you're the head honcho, and when things
that's where it falls.
When things go great, it's on you. when things go bad, it's on you regardless of your involvement in the situation, and obviously a very tragic situation.
You know who has defended DJ Durkin and all that? That youngster's parents.
Yeah.
They're probably the best testimony, probably why he is back working. DJ Durkin 6, Bobby Petrino 7 at Arkansas. We know how it ended, and it was not a motorcycle wreck. But whatever, it was a neck harness. Looked like Ted Kennedy after Chappaquiddick, and that's never a good visual. Rich Rodriguez, number 8. Charlie Strong at Texas 9. Lane Kiffin at Tennessee 10. Just 1 year at Tennessee. Number 11, Tyrone Willingham at Washington. Tyrone Willingham's on here again, I think, at Notre Dame. Yeah, at 44.
Rich Rodriguez is on there again at Arizona at 41.
Yeah, a couple with the 2 spots. Brett Bielema down at 40 at Arkansas, which that caused number 47 with Chad Morris. Has Ed Orgeron 28 at Ole Miss. I've called the Ed Orgeron hire at Ole Miss the single worst hire in the history of SEC football, only matched by Billy Gillespie in SEC basketball at Kentucky. So what stands out to you? Which ones you greatly agree with? Derek Dooley, 21 at Tennessee, speaks for itself. Which ones you like, dislike?
You know, I get the whole premises of how did they end. I don't know if I really agree with Will Muschamp at 15. I mean, yes, it wasn't a great hire, but 15th
Will Muschamp,
worst?
South Carolina, not Will Muschamp, Florida.
Oh, you're right. I saw Florida State underneath it for Willie Taggart. I guess I just put 2 and 2 together there. I still, even in South Carolina, I don't know if it's a top 15.
Should have never been hired. Can't win at Florida. How you going to win at South Carolina?
That's very true. I agree with Willie Taggart, and I mean why that hire was made is beyond me. I mean, had decent success at South Florida. I wouldn't say anything really to write home about. It wasn't Scott Frost, wasn't Mike Norvell, wasn't Justin Fuente in the American. He parlays that into an Oregon job where he's at for 1 year. Nothing really to write home there. And Florida State pays him all that kind of money. That was just that was a hire for hope, a hire that it would work out without really any merit to back it up.
Some coaches on here twice, some schools on here twice, with Arkansas with Chad Morris and Brett, but on here 3 times with Bobby Petrino, which led to Brett Bielema, which led to Chad Morris. The U on here a couple times. Al Golden at 22, Randy Shannon at 38, Ron Zook 37 at Florida. It was bad. It was really bad. Ellis Johnson, who I like, defensive coordinator at a lot of places in the SEC, well liked among a lot of college football people and fans, but that job at Southern Miss, and Southern Miss is really not pulled out of that.
They really haven't, and hopefully their new hire this year, I cannot remember his name for the life of me at the moment.
And Southern Miss was a place where they didn't miss for a long time.
They didn't.
They were getting it right.
They had a really good group of 5, or not really sure what they called it at that point. I guess still would have been in the group of 5 category of a solid program in those CUS days where the Tigers were playing them year in and year out. One that I do kind of disagree now that I'm 100% looking over the entire list is Charlie Weiss at Notre Dame a top 15 worst hire? They did have some good years. They had
the
some
Bush
good
push
years
game
with Brady Quinn.
Look, and he didn't take a gun in there to the negotiations, and they gave him that contract. I thought Charlie Weiss's worst job was at Kansas than it was at Notre Dame. Les Miles at Kansas, just
that's understandable for especially how
finishing.
It's ended.
Yeah, he was listed at 12. I love it. Steve Sarkisian, 18 at USC, and now he is the hope to save Texas. Texas on the list with Tom Herman at 29. A little bit like Josh here. It wasn't terrible, but nobody was fired,
begging
unlike
him.
Josh.
Nobody would have been begging him to stay. No boosters were
win
marching
the bowl
into
game
that.
and still get fired.
But it's Texas. It's the school that likes to think they're Alabama when
they're not.
They're not even Auburn.
No.
just to make the state of Alabama argument. They haven't been anything outside of Coach Brown and Vince Young year, where they did defeat USC in one of the best championship games I've personally ever seen at the Rose Bowl. But outside of that, really good couple great years with Colt McCoy, got back to the championship. But since then, what have you done?
Will Muschamp made it at both places. He made it at South Carolina 15-30 at Florida. And Charlie Weiss made it both places. There he is again.
Okay.
Great list. Mike Shula, 43 at Alabama. Of course, that was because of the Mike Price deal. It's hard to hire a coach in May. And a lot of people were wanting Gene Stallings to return to settle things down, and he had done that. He was done. So it really came down to Mike Shula or Sylvester Croom. I know how hurt Sylvester Croom was that he didn't get it later. The pioneer, the groundbreaking first African-American hired as head coach in the SEC by Larry Templeton at Mississippi State. I think he probably – I know he was hurt, but I don't think he would have won any more in the long run than Mike Shula. He might have that first year in 2003 because that was some loaded – they were loaded. That was a lot of talent on that team. Mike Shula just really couldn't get a handle on it. They lost a heartbreaking, narrow September game to Bob Stoops and Oklahoma on one of the great fake punt calls of all time. And then the year kind of spiraled out of control after that. They were rolling along pretty good out of the gate, but then knowing they couldn't play for an SEC championship, couldn't go to a bowl after that heartbreaking loss to an Oklahoma team that had the Heisman Trophy winner, I think, that year in Jason White. I was at that game in Tuscaloosa, and then it was out of control for him. Sylvester Croom might have been better that first year, but I don't think it would have ended any better for him in the long run. And you know what that led to? Out of the Mike Price, Mike Shula wreckage, it led to Nick Saban.
And honestly, in the hindsight of things, you would have taken that deal in a heartbeat to get Nick Saban. Out of the three, there's three Tennessee coaches on here. I'm not 100% sure if I agree with the rankings. I think that he's got Jeremy Pruitt at 26, Derek Dooley 21, and Lane Kiffin at 10. If I was going to rank those three,
Lane did a pretty good job.
I would go Dooley, Pruitt, then Kiffin.
I would too. And almost. What's that get you? Almost beat Alabama. Took the Mount Cody block of the field goal at the buzzer in that one season he was there, just 1 year. But again, it ended with couch burning and riots in Knoxville.
It did. It did not end very well when Lane Kiffin, who less than a year before that was talking about how they're going to be singing Rocky Top for years to come after they roll off this impressive streak of 20 wins against Alabama, and less than a year away, he's on a plane headed across the country.
Yeah, and that was he wanted to take a whack at his dream job. It didn't work out at USC, and now after last year, I thought he had a really, really good first year at Ole Miss. Speaking of Ole Miss, our friend Big Game Boomer had another list today. Did you see the list he had out today?
I did see the scared to play list.
Did you notice
I
who
did
he
notice
had for Ole Miss?
I did notice that he had Memphis on there. I like the joke with Georgia State and Tennessee. I like the joke, but I think realistically it should be.
It's a haunted house for Tennessee.
Yeah, it should be Memphis.
I think they'd probably be licking their chops to play him again.
Yeah,
couldn't happen twice, could it? But he has a list of one school that every Power 5 team is. Air quotes here, or no quotes here, no air quotes to it. He had quotes. Secretly scared to play, and for Ole Miss, he has them being scared of Memphis. Do you think Ole Miss is scared of Memphis?
I wouldn't say scared, but I would say maybe a little timid.
Very cautious.
I don't think
scared either.
They're scared. They're
it's like a few weeks ago when we had the real cold weather, and some actual ponds froze over around here. There were a couple ponds that we could have had. We could have had the Winter Classic in hockey, but I would have been a little cautious to walk across some of them. Not scared, but cautious.
Exactly. I think Ole Miss is stepping into that ring, but I don't think they're walking in with the most they're walking in with Conor McGregor type confidence.
And what we saw in 2015, and we saw in the last 4-game series, it was 2-2 with 2 20-something point wins for Ole Miss, but 2 really good wins for the Memphis Tigers in that series. Opening day, the last one of the 2019 season, it was 15-10, but all day the Tigers were in control.
They were in control, and you knew pretty much right out of the gate it was going to be Memphis's game, and the way that they made that a defensive battle when everybody thought it was going to be
5 points.
Yeah.
For Ole Miss.
So I think going forward the next 4 years, if Memphis and Ole Miss were to play, probably another 2-2 split?
Maybe, but it's so far out. You know, Ole Miss is contractually bound non-conference, the 4 games. There's 1 year there's only 3, but it's pretty full through about 27 or 28. Tigers are pretty full.
Pretty full.
Most ADs, most legal counsel at most universities aren't too much for tearing up those signed contracts. We know it can be done. Last year was the exception, but most don't like to do it. So it's going to be later rather than sooner if they meet again. For Alabama, did you see who they're scared to play on his list?
I did, and he's 100% right by listing nobody.
Nobody. Everybody puts up the sign, "We want Bama." You really don't.
You really don't. And I love the Kansas choice that he has, where he has nobody for Alabama. He has everyone for Kansas.
Good Twitter site, isn't it?
Yes, I definitely have reached out and already followed him after looking through all of his stuff today. And on this Scared to Play list, there's no one that I could really argue with. I think it's very accurate, especially looking at some of the SEC schools. Arkansas State.
They're going to play.
They're going to play, but
it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a minute. I think Auburn UAB. I think that would be maybe a really good matchup, and I think UAB wins a few of those out of 10. The Florida schools, UCF, maybe. Yeah, no, UCF is still there, and everything that they bring. Western Kentucky against Kentucky, that'd be a great matchup. And then Southern Miss and Mississippi State. Yesteryear, yes. I don't know right now, though, it's the way that the program is, but historic-wise, I think it is.
And they've played a little in the last few years. Mississippi State more amenable to playing Southern Miss than Ole Miss has been. Summer road trips, they're on the way. If you're ready for a new Chevy, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, that's where you want to be. New Chevy Traverses with third-row seating, Equinox, Blazers, thousands in cash back. Financing as low as 0 for 72 months. The almost famous All-Star Chevy demo sale, it's on. Demos by the dozen. If it's a Chevy car, truck, or SUV you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevy with the title. You'll get your check. They'll write it to you today. They'll beat any legitimate offer. Any 2015 to 2021 with less than 75,000 miles in the title. And, yes, you get your check the same day. The Chevy certified pre-owned lot is full of Tahoes, Suburbans, Yukons, Silverados, but they want more. Remember, it's not Carterville, it's not South Haven, it's not Covenant Pike, it's not Mount Moriah. It's got to be Olive Branch. Everyone at All-Star Chevy, one job. Make sure you have fun, get the best deal, and do it in record time. All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch, it's the place to be. It's the place to go sell your vehicle. Ask for Jeff Brooks and tell them Sports 56 sent you. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy at Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or go to their website, allstarautogroup.com. When we come back, we talk the NCAA tournament basketball, men's basketball tournament. That's next.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Hayden Moore, General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Spring Upgrade Sales Event. For the first time ever, get 1.9% APR for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months on new 2021 Palisades. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com. With approved credit, $1,748 and $1,515 per month, respectively, for every $1,000 finance. Example down payment, 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. Offer ends 4/12/21.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you got some deals over there that'll blow me away at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You better believe it, Randy. I've got a 2021 Kia Forte $135 a month lease.
That's less than $5 a day for a new car at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Plus a 2021 Kia Soul redesigned inside and out $149 per month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5 $179 per month lease. 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
Plus they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte NE 319,491, MSRP 20,625, sold, M775597, MSRP 20,660, K5 MG00 5560, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit warranty, is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 3/31/21, dealer stock only.
You've probably seen him, heard about him, passed him while he was working, but you never thought you'd need him until you do. And when you do, you really need Papa Lock of Memphis. Papa Lock of Memphis is all about locks and keys and more. Lose your car key? Papa Lock can make new ones. Moving. Don't take the key you're handed. Lots of other folks have been handed that same key. Papa Lock will re-key your home so you're safe. Need more than a new key? Papa Lock is expert at installing access control so you know who and when there is entry of your home, office, warehouse, and more. Multiple properties? Let Papa Lock of Memphis set up a master key system for you. Call 901-527-6737. That's 901-527-OPEN. Papa Lock of Memphis, your trusted locksmith.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Would have been back to the NCAA tournament tonight and into tomorrow night, but we're not. It's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It's going to be 2 tickets punched to the Final Four on Tuesday night with a quick turnaround of playing that following Saturday unless the schedules are interrupted. We sure hope that doesn't happen. Drew, I'm pretty proud of my 33-15.
I would be, especially this year, and it's been the exact opposite. I'm not about to give you the merit, because I think you've been too hard on yourself today and you've given out enough.
Thank you.
But it was kind of, especially the first round, it was the opposite of what you said. You said it was going to be talent over anything. The crowds weren't going to be there to pop up the Cinderellas.
Antiseptic arenas.
You said talent was going to win out 99% of the time, and honestly, that wasn't it. Maybe the big teams missed the crowds more than the Cinderellas. Maybe they are the ones that really needed that crowd to thrive off of.
Well, along those lines, good take. The smaller teams,
they're kind of used to playing in front of nobody.
North Texas, yeah. Oral Roberts, although Tulsa, as I have many times, one of the great small sports towns in the country, and I have spent a lot of time there and know it pretty well and have enjoyed it. It's a smaller version of Memphis and a little bit like Memphis with the hodgepodge of loyalties. Unlike Memphis, where the Tigers, football and basketball, look, that's our linchpin. That's our chops in this. I mean, Tiger football, Tiger basketball, especially Tiger football being good, that kind of comes first. And then the whole SEC influence and the area influence and the college football. And the Grizzlies, of course, are way up there, probably after the Tigers. They're
number
next.
2, yeah.
Tulsa, in the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, they don't really have that college football linchpin status, but they have OU. They have Oklahoma State. Tulsa, decent.
Yeah.
Then when you get to college basketball time, all that Big 12 influence, a smidge of Arkansas, and then.
I mean, it's only 2 hours away from Fayetteville?
Yeah, 2 hours straight shot, easy to get to, and on the pro front, big Cowboys town and pretty good Kansas City Chiefs influence. And now with the Oklahoma City Thunder, a historical minor league baseball town with the Drillers through the years, like Memphis, an historical minor league baseball town. So Tulsa, not unlike us in a good sports town, Oral Roberts, they're moving on in the tournament. The tournament is down to just 16 teams. So if you've been waiting from the sidelines, this is your chance to get in on the action. FanDuel Sportsbook, they'll hook you up with exclusive 30-1 odds on all 16 teams left in the bracket, even the top seeds. That's right. New users get 30-1 odds on any team to win their next game in the upcoming round. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Razorback fans, where are you? Get in on this. All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and make your first deposit to unlock exclusive 30-1 odds. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. Sign up for promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. Promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager in designated offer market. $10 first deposit required. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com for problem gambling support. Call 1-800-889-9789. Starting hour number 3 with us on this Thursday, we talk Tigers, and we do it with Greg Gaston. That's next.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this.
10.
There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
Are you looking for a dependable car at a fair price and guaranteed financing approval? Then you need to make your way to Collierville Auto Center, where one price shopping is the name of the game. Family owned and operated, Collierville Auto Center has been in the business for over 20 years and is proud to serve the people of this area. Collierville Auto Center is stocked with over 50 units, including cars, trucks, SUVs, and Highlines. Looking for a particular type of vehicle? Collierville Auto Center offers a locator service with 72-hour turnaround service. With over 30 years in the automotive industry, Scott and Martin would be happy to show you how their affordable pricing and guaranteed financing can work for you. Come see Scott and his professional staff of Terry, Branson, Q for your car needs. Conveniently located at 651 West Poplar Avenue, Collierville Auto Center is situated where Highway 72 meets Poplar and Collierville. Please look them up on the web at ColliervilleAutoCenter.com. Call at 901-853-0240 or simply come and see them for an outstanding car buying experience. At Collierville Auto Center, they're here for you.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave is deep in the heart of Texas, preparing to call the game with the 8 o'clock tip tonight against Boise State on the Tigers radio network. He'll be back with us tomorrow at 5, and we'll either be awaiting more games or the season will be over. It will end in the fashion that all too often college basketball does. You don't really see the finish line like you do in college football. It just jumps up and it's over with that loss, and you're out, and it's over until next year. We will visit about the Tigers with Greg Gaston, as we do every week at this time after I tell you about the title sponsor of this 5 o'clock hour, and they've been with us for years, and we appreciate the great people at 5704 Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales. Visit their website, DeSotoAutoSales.com, and look at all the beautiful cars and check out all the referrals, all the testimonials of very pleased customers. They're very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All their cars test-driven, all checked out bumper to bumper, thorough inspection, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find the car you want just for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you walk in and you're treated like family by a kind, courteous staff. Treat you like family, down-home, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, but they care about your time and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, having test drive the car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're gone. Unbelievable. They know we live in a world today that time matters, and that's why they have you out of there in 45 minutes. They keep it that simple at DeSoto Auto Sales, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience that you've come to know and love. The Tigers tonight against Boise State in the NIT. We've referred to it many times. As long as you're winning in the NIT, it remains fun. Once you lose, it strikes home like any loss does, but also a loss not in the NCAA tournament, but in the NIT. That would be 2 of the last 3 years for the Tigers. This time next year, we're hoping we're not talking any NIT bracketology or any NIT disappointment. To talk with us about it, Greg Gaston from the Tigers Sideline, brought to you every week by Rule Schmidt, your RE/MAX realtor. Visit yourgermantownagent.com. yourgermantownagent.com. Presto Shutters, law offices of Stephen Leffler, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and Papa Lock. So it's not how we wanted it to be, Greg, but we knew in the middle of February, barring almost straight flush down the course of the last part of the year, that it was going to be NIT, and the Tigers almost pulled it off. I think if Memphis had made the tournament, they could have beat some of the teams that last weekend, and they also could have lost to some of these teams. That's how the bracketology and the first 4 in and the bubble. That's why they call it the bubble. That's why you're that kind of team.
First of all, good afternoon, Brett. Good afternoon, Drew. Thanks for having me on, as always. And I think you're absolutely right. The way the Tigers were playing, Brett, you never know. It's just give me a ticket to the dance and let's see what happens. I guess if you want to look at it from this NIT point of view, you were a team that struggled early and you came back strong in the end and just came up short. That's better than the opposite. That's better than being really good and then you completely collapsed and were lost at the end of the year and didn't get in the tournament as an at-large, didn't win your conference tournament, and you're stuck in the NIT. It's a little different way of looking at it, maybe a half-full kind of way to look at it. It's still a consolation no matter what, no matter how you slice it. They want to go to the NCAA tournament. This is a consolation prize, but they're still in there, and while they're in there, they may as well go out there and win it.
Yeah, you're right, Greg. I mean, if you're going to play in it, you might as well win it. But while we're on the subject of NIT and how they are disappointments that you didn't make the NCAA tournament, me and Brett had this conversation yesterday about NIT banners. Where do you stand on that type of on that decision by the University of Memphis to hang in NIT banners, which there are plenty of them hanging in the rafters at FedEx Forum?
I guess I don't have a problem with it. If it was my ultimate choice, if I had to make that call, I probably wouldn't put up the NIT banner. I know fans still are happy when they win a championship. The championship that Calipari led the team to in 2002 springboarded things to bigger and better things. It springboarded the team. So I don't have an issue, but me, I think I would keep them off because the Memphis basketball program and their history tells you a story of NCAA tournament appearances. This isn't a school and a program that has gone to 1 or 2 NCAA tournaments. They have been there an awful lot, right? They have been there an awful lot. So you should always be shooting for the top level. Why entertain everyone with the secondary level? Oh, we did this, we did that in the NIT. Again, I don't have an issue. I'm sure some fans like to see those banners no matter what, but if I was in charge, I probably wouldn't put those banners up.
And, Greg, you see a team in the area, Arkansas. They went through that. I'm going to use some lyrics I know you're familiar with. They went through that long, cold, lonely winter of not having been in a Sweet 16 since 1996. They get the right guy in Eric Musselman. They're back. The Tigers have not been in that kind of rut, but it is beginning to develop into one that Tiger fans aren't used to with the absence of NCAA tournaments and NCAA tournament runs.
Hard to believe, 25 years for Arkansas. You're absolutely right. It has not been that long, but the years are starting to creep by, aren't they? Time's starting to roll by, and it's 7 years now without an appearance in the NCAA tournament. So you blink, and it could be that kind of a rut. Let's hope not. And certainly I think fans believe they have the right guy in there to get the job done. But next year, it's a pivotal year. Let's be honest. This year, certainly COVID affected every program out there, so it was kind of an even-Steven thing across the board, some worse than others. Last
Greg,
year,
Greg, I did get the lyrics right to "Here Comes the Sun," didn't I?
Yeah, was that? I didn't even know what song it was, but it was definitely lyrics.
I thought you were throwing out a Bruce Springsteen song for Greg because I know he's a big East Street Band guy.
Springsteen to the Beatles.
I am, but that was a little Beatles. That was a little Here Comes the Sun.
Okay.
But I think that I forgot I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I guess I was talking about just next year how important it is to make the dance, and everybody feels that Penny's the right guy. There was positives this year in the way they improved as the season went along, but sorry, when it's all said and done, it was still a disappointment. Oh, I know what I was saying. This year, everybody has the built-in excuse of the pandemic, some worse than others. Last year, certainly the Tigers can use the whole James Wiseman thing as an excuse. However, a lot of that was self-inflicted. Now, we do understand that, but still, when you lose a guy that you built your team around after a couple of games, no wonder you're on tilt the rest of the season. But we can't keep making excuses. Next year is year number 4. If the bulk of these guys come back with the guys they have coming in, and I'm sure Penny will look at some transfer portal guys and maybe even a JC player, who knows what he'll bring in, but it'll be a packed team, and we'll look at it and go, that's a 4-star guy, that's a 4-star guy, that's a 5-star guy, and probably a top 25, if not close to a top 25 preseason seeding or preseason ranking. So, yes, it has to get done sooner than later. They cannot go through a rut much longer than 7 years. But that rut for Arkansas, 25 years, Sweet 16, that's a long time in the making.
It is. Honeymoon's over, but it didn't end ugly. It didn't end unceremoniously for Penny, did it?
No, not at all. I think there's still – it's kind of tough on our station. As you know, we're a melting pot. We have so many different schools and regions represented, so you don't know if you're always getting the blue and gray fan or supporter or alum, like Drew being an alum of the University of Memphis. So sometimes you don't know if it's it's a Tennessee fan kind of needling, it's an Ole Miss fan kind of needling. You never really know. But I think for the most part, the people that I have spoken to who are diehard Tigers fans, they're a little flustered, they're a little frustrated because remember, Penny came with all the smoke. We're going to win championships. Not we're going to make the NCAA tournament. We're going to win championships. We're going to lead the country in scoring. We're going to lead the country in defense. And they're close in defense, but that's the only thing they've been close on. So I know it hurts Penny more than it hurts anybody because he knows the promises he made. But I think most of the people that are diehards still believe that he'll get the job done. But again, pressure. Next year number 4, you start to wonder if they don't make the tournament next year.
Hey, Greg, you talk about 7 years since making the tournament. Add on another 5 since the Tigers have seen the second weekend. It's been 12 years since 2009 that lost to Missouri for the Tigers actually being a Sweet 16. But you brought up Penny going out and possibly looking at the transfer portal. So a two-parter for the transfer portal for you. Does anyone on the current team, do you think, enters the portal after the season? And former Tiger Tyler Harris has now re-entered the portal for a second straight year out of Iowa State. What kind of program do you think he ends up at?
Okay, I'll tackle the second part of your question first. And I thought you were going or leaning towards would the Tigers look at bringing him back? And I was about to say,
no, we're good.
No. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
You're not going to quit me twice.
I have no idea, but I did follow Tyler Harris through. I saw a couple of his games and just kind of looking at the box score, seeing how many minutes he was getting. And once in a while, he would have the big game where he hit 3 or 4 trays. But for the most part, 0 for 3, 12 minutes, he wasn't getting the time. He wasn't making the shots. I think Tyler wants to certainly go to a place where he's going to get 30 minutes and see what he can do and have some fun. Poor guy's been at 2 different schools already. So I hope for the best for Tyler Harris. I don't know. Maybe a smaller school, I would think, Brett, not a Power 5 conference school. Maybe not even a Big East. What's that?
St. Louis U?
I was thinking more or less like a St. Louis would fit the bill, I think. Maybe even like a George Mason. We just saw Kim English get the job there.
Evansville, something like that, yeah.
Something in that size. I'm not saying he can't be a rotation player at a bigger school. He's already proven that in 2 different places. But if the guy wants to really be on the court for a lot, for the bulk of the game, and not be he's not an end of the bencher, but an end of the rotation guy, I think you got to look maybe at a different type of program. And the first, remind me, Drew, I'm getting old.
Anybody from the Tigers currently, do you think could be a possibility to enter the transfer portal when the season is said and done, either tonight or next week?
So odds are, guys, right? There has to be. I mean, if they have nobody leave the program, wow, that's just unprecedented in this day and age. Indiana, of course, they fire Archie Miller. 5 guys are gone. Now, Penny's back, so it's not like it's a coaching change. But you have to think somebody's going to leave. I don't know who. The same names will come up. DJ Jeffries is DJ Jeffries, who's not ready yet for the NBA, but certainly could play professionally around the world. Is he had enough of college, or is he ready to come back and hope that his stock rises? What about Boogie Ellis? He's from San Diego. Is he homesick? He's been here a couple of years. Will he try to go somewhere else? Will he try to turn pro? DeAndre Williams, who is 24 years of age. I'm sure he enjoyed being around these guys and enjoyed Memphis, but is it time to start making some money? I don't think we're going to hear Moussa Cisse say, yeah, one's enough. Let me try to my chance at the NBA. He's a long way from being ready for that. So the hope is that the bulk of these guys come back, but I would say the odds are that somebody is going to leave.
Yeah, odds on favor would be at least a -1, because nobody in today's age gets away with nobody entering the portal. It's just where we are in college sports. And a person who entered the portal yesterday in college football that I know stunned me, Taj Washington. Have you heard the reasoning behind that decision? The next to Calvin Austin, the breakout player of the year, became a household name in Memphis, Tennessee last year, and now decides he just wants to pack it up and go somewhere else. It's not working for him. Did we recruit over him? I mean, what's going on?
He was great in Montgomery in the bowl game, and Taj Washington ready to break out. Yeah, this is a surprise because this is a post-season pre-spring football. This is already in the midst of spring football with this happening. So you had John Simon, who is no longer part of the coaching staff, and John Simon was the coach of the receivers and also was a great recruiter as well. I don't know if there's a connection there. I have not heard word one. Of course, Gabe, as you know, Gabe Kuhn producing middays. I asked Gabe if he's heard anything. He hasn't heard. We have Ryan Silverfield coming on the show tomorrow. We'll bring that question up to Ryan. I'm not sure he'll answer or care to answer that. Maybe he doesn't want to. I'm sure he probably doesn't want to, but we'll ask him because that's our job. But just a long way around trying to answer your question is I have no earthly idea why in the midst of spring football, because you would think if it was, they brought in all these young receivers and junior college guys, I don't know if I'll have a spot. That's not the case because, number one, Taj is good.
Yeah.
And number two, you would have made that move already. You would have went the portal before spring football started. Was it one incident? Was it growing? Was something said? Again, I have more questions than I do answers. Sorry about that, Drew.
No, it's perfectly fine. I mean, that's why I asked. Maybe you have heard something. I mean, is it that he's afraid of the transfer guy from Arkansas who's going to probably demand a lot of minutes out there? And that was kind of my thinking of the fact that he waited this long to start spring practice, and now he, having seen what he's now up against, maybe going somewhere else. Staying on spring practice real quick, have you heard anything from Ryan Silverfield, who's kind of edging it out at the all-important starting quarterback position? Is it Peter Parrish? Is it Gunnell from Arizona?
We'll find out tomorrow. We'll pose that question as well. And I think this is one of those deals where they will wrap up spring football. They'll have Friday night stripes, which is really cool that they will have a spring game. It's open to the public. Some schools are not having their spring football games. I think you're going to not hear any single thing about the quarterback who won the job.
Competition.
And it's going to go into camp. Now,
he won't.
In the back of their mind, right, you know this, Brad, in the back of their mind, they know who they expect to win it. And really, when you go out and get a quarterback from a Power 5 conference, from a Pac-12 conference, like they did Brady White, that's the guy you expect to win the job. Now, going out there and looking the way you should look in practice in spring and in camp in August are two different things. You've got to go out there and perform still. They're not just going to hand you the job if you're out there throwing 10 feet over your receivers. But more than likely, that's the guy that will be the starter. So it'll be interesting to see how that materializes. I know Peter Parrish was a guy who was with LSU. He's a great athlete. They got a couple of other guys, certainly. They have the young kid waiting in the wings from Texas who was an all-state performer, state champion, Hennigan. So I think it's Hennigan or Hannigan. But for this upcoming year, you would think it's Gunnell. But you have to have a couple of quarterbacks. You just in case. We've seen too many times when guys have been banged up with injury, of course, the COVID situation, which knocks your quarterback out. You have to have a very capable backup and probably go really 3 deep to make sure you're okay.
I mean, not to jinx it, but knock on wood, Memphis hasn't had that problem. It's been Paxton. It's been Paxton, Riley, and Brady.
Yeah, but Brett will attest to this because Drew, you were young, but they went through their share of quarterbacks in the O's with Tommy West.
Oh, I remember.
There was, what was it? Was it the first game or the first two games?
First game of the season against Ole Miss.
And Burns.
Yes, Patrick Burns was the starting quarterback. He went down, I want to say, the first series of the game. Might have been early, somewhere around the second or third play of the game, and then Hudgens went down a game or two later and had to have Mo Avery finish out the year.
Yeah, so you remember. You were still young, but remember. But that's the kind of bad luck they had there, and they've had a great run of quarterbacks. You're right. You knock on wood that it continues with this next quarterback.
Greg Gaston, our guest, and he's with us every Thursday afternoon, brought to you by Rule Smith, your RE/MAX Realtor. Visit your GermantownAgent.com, Presto Shutters, law offices of Stephen Leffler, Papa Lock, and Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Greg, I loved it just a few minutes ago when you went, because it's our job, you went Donald Sutherland in Animal House. It's my job.
Yeah, but I'm not wearing a big old sweater like Donald Sutherland did.
And you have trousers on. That's a good thing.
And I have trousers on. You know what's funny when we're going off track here? The Animal House, like in the movie theater, there's Donald Sutherland. He's got the sweater on, and he's not wearing any pants. So,
with Katie.
In the movie, you see his butt. And then when they put it and they edited it for television, it was like you couldn't see it. So, like, it's amazing how they do those things. They didn't have pants. They were just, I don't know how they were able to do it, but they were able to edit it where you couldn't see it at all. So,
well, I'm going to break some news to you, Greg. Forrest Gump, vis-a-vis Tom Hanks, never met President Kennedy. They can do a lot at the big screen now. There's a lot of AI out there, a lot of artificial intelligence out there, a lot of deep fake videos. Greg, we talk about the NIT and we talk about the win tonight. All three of us have played in golf tournaments. I don't think any of the three of us have ever played in a championship flight. So as I tell a lot of people, there's a flight for everybody. And one time I played in a great 4-ball with a really good partner, and we won the 4th flight, and I left there that Sunday night. Tiger Woods wouldn't be any happier winning a green jacket than I was. That's kind of what the NIT is. If the Tigers keep winning and win their flight on Sunday, we'll be happy about it, and I don't think there should be anybody that should be ashamed of that.
Yeah, and even though we're living in the world of everybody gets a trophy, that's not the case here. Everybody doesn't get a trophy.
I said 4th flight.
Yes. A lot of teams did not make any postseason. So in that sense, it's good. In this sense, if they win it all, it's good because it basically, to me, it justifies the hard work at the end of the year, even though they came up a little short against Houston. We don't have to rehash those 2 games. But I think it just reiterates as well how well they were playing at the end of the year, that they were good enough to be in the tournament, and circling back to what you said earlier, and who knows, maybe even make some noise in the tournament. But they messed up earlier, and it's the entire resume, and they put themselves in a hole, and they weren't quite able to dig out of the hole. But if they go ahead and take care of business, win tonight against Boise State, where they're favored to win, and win the 2 games over the weekend, they can be proud that they finished the season strong. They went into the postseason, albeit the NIT, and won the tournament. I think there'll be some happy people. Nobody will be satisfied, don't get me wrong, but they'll be happy that they finished with a flourish and it was a much different outcome at the end of the year than how the season started with 2 losses in 3 games in South Dakota.
He's Greg Gaston. You hear him every day on this radio station from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Eli Savoy doing Sports 56 middays. He is with us every Thursday talking Tigers. We appreciate it. We know next week you got a little vacation time. How about Wednesday at 4 o'clock for talking Tigers next week?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, now I'll send you a reminder. And, Greg, we appreciate you so much, and our sponsors and our listeners do as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brett. Take care, Drew. Take care.
Thanks, Greg.
You got it. Greg Gaston with us on Thursday. Next week, he'll be with us on Wednesday. We come back, we visit with Shelby Mass, the official bracketologist for USA Today from BracketWag.com. He was with us down the home stretch of the college basketball season, talking bubble and talking 4 in, 4 out. And we will talk with him about what they got right and what they got wrong in the field of 16 that remains. That's next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Grind City Brewing Company is taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City Brewing is the dream of a father and son duo to create a brand that delivers a high-quality, great-tasting, and easy-drinking craft beer. And they've done it. The brewery sits high above the city elevation in uptown Memphis with 15,000 square feet of beerness, including a 5,000 square foot tap room. Grind City Brewing is committed to all things Memphis, including the Tigers. They have created a malt liquor called Tiger Tail that is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs and is not your typical malt liquor. Tiger Tail is crafted with a bold and smooth flavor, has 7.5% alcohol, and its clean finish makes it incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis.
Make your next grill your last with Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic will not rust, but will provide the best radiant heat, keeping your food crisp on the outside and juicy on the inside. Step your flavor up with 100% natural lumpwood charcoal. Never have to add charcoal or wood during a cook again, and save money by reusing Big Green Egg lumpwood charcoal. Enjoy the versatility of keeping cook temperatures below 200 or above 700 for searing, and anywhere in between with ease. The Big Green Egg is ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes. Just ask Big Green Egg users how great the food is. Satisfaction has been our recipe for success since 1974, and our customers are our biggest testament. Come taste the difference with Big Green Egg and make your next grill your last. Available at East Memphis Ace at the corner of South White Station Road and Quince Road.
Hi, I'm Hayden Moore, General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Spring Upgrade Sales Event. For the first time ever, get 0% APR for 60 months on the all-new 2021 Elantra. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com. With approved credit, $1,667 per month for every $1,000 finance. Example down payment 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. Offer ends 4/12/21.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
from all those teams when Shelby Mass first joined us back after the Super Bowl, as he does down the home stretch of every college basketball season. Our friend Shelby from USA Today, the official bracketologist, and from his great site, bracketwag.com, we had that big collage of teams, that menagerie, that maze of teams, and then we narrow it down. You get down to the last weekend, and like the Tigers needed to win and other teams needed to win. Syracuse. Look at Syracuse. They were right there on a lot of bubbles, on ins and outs, and now they're down to, as we boiled it down, to the Sweet 16. One of Jim Boeheim's great coaching jobs, and it's always funny to see the zone defense freak everybody out like they've never seen one before. Isn't it, Drew?
It is. Every year around the time when they sneak into the tournament, they get that win, everyone acts like that zone is cheating. Like it's something that should be illegal is how much people freak
like
out
the
about
shift.
it. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's a defense we play in fifth grade youth basketball. Everybody's been in a big old sagging 2-3 zone or 1-2-2 zone, and when you really get bold, you play a box and one maybe, and put your best player on someone else's best 10-year-old kid to cover him. Shelby Mass joins us now. Shelby, the tournament was as good as it could be last weekend over the course of those days with those upsets. Were you enjoying it?
Oh, yeah. It was weird watching it on the days that it wasn't supposed to be on. It was shifted forward today, but I got used to it, and I enjoyed it. I was glad to have it back. And Syracuse lives on the bubble every year. Doesn't matter what the situation is.
I'm with you, Shelby. The days did have – Monday day basketball did throw me off. And if you think that threw us off, wait till we punch tickets to the Final Four next Tuesday night.
I know it. I'm going to have to get used to it all over again. But I'll adjust. I'll adapt.
Yeah, Shelby, it's been a good tournament, but it's also been weird as we've seen more Cinderellas come out into the Sweet 16, more higher seeds than we ever have. In the NCAA. How do you think the NCAA itself feels about it? Does it like Cinderella stories? Because we're already hearing reports of viewership being down.
Well, for the true basketball fan, I think they love the Cinderella story. For TV ratings, I don't know which way to go. I want to see the upset, but the name brands bring in the viewers. So yeah, I am torn.
All those Big Ten teams make an exit, it hurt because the Big Ten carried the regular season. A lot of market. A lot of eyeballs, a lot of ratings, and with them disaffected with only Michigan remaining, that's a lot of TVs that aren't interested. Are you surprised at the Big Ten's really meager showing and only Michigan advancing into the 16, Shelby?
Yeah, I really am. This I guess you could say it's a disappointment. With as many teams as they had in, and not to get at least two teams to the Sweet 16, that's going to be one of the bigger disappointments for them ever.
As much of a disappointment as the Big Ten was, the Pac-12, I mean, just shocked us all, unless your name is Bill Walton. He's the only person out there that probably saw this coming. How shocked were you by the Pac-12's performance in the first weekend?
Very shocked and very thankful that I don't have to listen to him. The Pac-12 is, to me, and it's the West Coast. There is a bit of an East Coast bias, and I'm guilty of that too. Living in Texas, I'm not East Coast, but you think that's better basketball. But boy, they've been great. Was it Colorado's one that lost? That's pretty good. They made a very good showing, and considering that they were lucky to get the teams in that they did. UCLA in a play-in game, and Oregon State in because they won the conference tournament. They were really only guaranteed 3, so they've done quite well.
Shelby, do you think at this point the tournament should be reseeded? We know Gonzaga would be 1 and Oral Roberts would be 16. I don't think they will ever do it, but do you think they should? Do you think it should be examined?
No, I don't think so. I hope they don't.
Me too.
The teams that get there, Oral
let
Roberts,
it fly.
let it fly. They earned the right to play who they play. Let's see how they do. Because they've been great so far. I had a guy on Twitter say about 2 weeks left of the season, I had Oral Roberts at 16, and he said, you better watch out for them. They're good enough to be a 15. Ha-ha. Well, yeah, they're good enough to be higher than that. They played a good regular season, and their non-conference was especially good and tough, and they weren't blown out. And that bodes well for them.
It really does. Oral Roberts has played like a top 16 team these in the first two games. Shelby, you bring up that you're in Texas. Not a great tournament for Texas, to say it lightly. Where would you have them right now in your way too early 2022 bracket? Does Shaka have enough returning to be as high up as a 3 seed like they were this year?
I don't think so. And then next year's going to be it's going to be tougher to do a way too early because all the seniors can come back.
Mm-hmm.
Because of COVID, they get an extra year, and we'll see how many of them do. Are they given the same deadline as the underclassmen go pro, or do they have to wait till next year? I don't know how that's going to work, but kudos to Abilene Christian. That's a great win to that program. I actually live about 45 minutes from the campus now, so it was real exciting right here.
Yeah, and Grant McCaslin may be the coach that gets the big step up, the big job up. He was at Arkansas State for a year and then got back home in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to be closer to his dad, and he's won at North Texas. Shelby, I'm going to brag. I had North Texas over Purdue in that game. That's good. I didn't have the guts to do it. I wanted it, but, all you hear about is how great the Big Ten is, and, well, we weren't in that game. But that lower right quadrant, the Midwest, that's the one that just ran people out of red ink. I mean, just the Sharpies around the world are drive red ink from just that lower right. I mean, X after X after X, and Loyola looks like they could emerge yet again. We heard during the year that some thought that this team was better than that 2018 Final Four team down in San Antonio. I believe it now.
Yeah, I do too, and that Illinois killed a lot of people, but I had Oklahoma State. So
I did too.
That one killed me. So and Houston is alive because they had an extra minute. For 59 minutes of that, or 39 minutes of that game, they were behind, and they come back in the final minute against
Rutgers. Rutgers put their offense up way too early.
Yeah, they did, and it was. That was good for Houston. We got one high seed left, and they don't look really stable to me. So it'll be interesting to see how that all turns out.
It will be. And having seen Houston up close and personal a couple times here in Memphis this year, I would be absolutely shocked that they make the Final Four, even though their road is kind of there for them to do it. If they did, they would easily – and it doesn't matter, I think, who comes out of the other three regions. I think they would be the fourth best team out of the Final Four. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. They've got, on paper, the easiest route now because the 11, 12, and 8.
Mm-hmm.
That you couldn't ask for that. That would cost you a lot of money in any situation. But they got it, and now they better take advantage of it right now. Bring your A game.
You're around a lot of the tea sippers at Texas and the arrogance that they bring. What do you think cuts more deeply for them? The embarrassing loss to Abilene Christian or the fact that Baylor's sailing through the tournament?
If it's not football related, it doesn't really matter. That's the fact. They're already talking spring football. But I think it was Abilene Christian. They lost to a lesser team in Texas. It doesn't matter how many turnovers they had or whatever, they lost to a lesser team from Texas, and that probably stung.
Shelby, obviously the team that we thought coming into the tournament, basically into the season, that would be the most likely to win it all, it was Gonzaga, and they've definitely held that up through the first 2 weeks. Is there anybody in this tournament on either side of the bracket that you would realistically put money up against Gonzaga? Because I just haven't seen it.
I haven't either. Baylor's probably the best option, but they've proven in the last 2 weeks that they're unbeatable, or they are beatable, which is fair. They played in a tough conference. It's tough to go undefeated in the Big 12, but they lost a couple and they had a tough time in Greta 32. I'm interested to see if they're going to come out guns blazing, because they are the best three-point shooting team in America, and I don't feel like they brought it like we've been seeing from them all year.
Mm-hmm.
A Gonzaga USC game would be entertaining to see Mobley up against Gonzaga. And then at lower left, I call it the football bracket: Michigan, Florida State, Alabama, and UCLA. Who comes out of that?
I had Alabama at the beginning. I'm sticking with them. They've looked awful good, and the others have kind of struggled some. But I think Michigan with their injury, they're not going to be around too much longer. Will they make it to the Elite Eight or not? I don't know, but I don't think they can get all the way to the Final Four. But they've been proving me wrong all season. So.
Staying in that bracket, especially with that Michigan matchup, that they have Florida State, and obviously Leonard Hamilton has had a fantastic storybook coaching career, other than not winning it all. Hasn't reached the pinnacle just yet.
Hasn't been to a Final Four.
Hasn't been to a Final Four either, but has had good tournament success in the last few years at Florida State. If he can't get it done this year, at least to the Final Four, when, let's face it, college basketball that isn't as competitive across the board this year, it's been a little down. Do you think he ever does it at Florida State?
I don't know. He's getting good recruits in there, some big, lanky guys. He seems to recruit the same kind of player over and over, and it's worked for him. He's had good teams that have had an early exit. I don't want to say this is his best chance, but there's a lot of people that picked Florida State. I'm wondering if maybe they're so much of a football school, too, that they don't care.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who definitely picked them, because, like you said, Michigan first-year coach and just everything that goes on with them, it just doesn't have a lot of faith for them to really pull it out. Just for some reason, even on paper and after watching the first two games, Michigan just still doesn't, I guess, do it for me. Yeah,
I agree. And I think Juwan Howard has done a fine job there. Nothing against him, but Patrick Ewing's kind of in the same boat. Usually the guys that were the big guys in the middle aren't as successful as coaches as the point guards. And those two have, him more than Ewing, but they've done it, and it's been a huge surprise. And I just want to say these more centers are coming to the bench.
Shelby Mass with us talking college basketball, and Shelby, we'll do it again next Thursday when we're down 2-4. We'll know the Final Four, and they're all staying in Indianapolis, so it's no travel for anybody. They're in the bubble, and we hope we have the games. Only one no contest, and we hope we can avoid another one of those. But we'll talk about it next week with you, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you as always.
Thank you, Shelby. Shelby Mass from BracketWag.com with us down the home stretch of the college basketball season every year, and so fun to visit with him. Baylor, it feels like we're on a collision course for that Gonzaga-Baylor final, and if we get to that, everybody will say we knew that in November.
Yeah, pretty much, and I think that if you look at 98% of brackets out there, unless the people that decided to get a little cute with Illinois or Ohio State, I'd say around 90% of brackets have Gonzaga and Baylor. I know mine did.
I called my shot 2 weeks before the tournament. I said, I'm not even going to overthink this at all. In fact, I was going to start in the middle and work out, and I did. I started with Gonzaga, Baylor in that championship game, and went the other direction with those picks, and didn't hesitate even for the Razorbacks playing potentially, which I had Arkansas losing to Ohio State in the 16. Ohio State got bounced in that first round, that big upset to Oral Roberts. I'm afraid Oral Roberts, I know they played Arkansas closely back in December 20th. I watched that game. I kind of had Monday Night Football going in that game around the holidays, and ORU led. I'm afraid they want to try to win that game 85-80. Arkansas will run them out of the building if they try to. And that's Oral Roberts style. I don't think they can play any other way.
I don't think they can either. And while it's been a great story, you love to see the only second 15th seed make the Sweet 16. It seems like the Cinderella story for them is done. And I think Arkansas ends up winning and probably ends up winning pretty easy.
I covered the other one that did it, the 15. I think the other 15 was 10 Chattanooga, wasn't it?
Florida Gulf Coast.
Florida Gulf. I wonder what was 10 Chattanooga in '97 then.
I would have to look.
They were double digit. I know, but so Andy Enfield. That's right. He back in the Sweet 16 won with Florida Gulf Coast. That was Dunk City, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And now with the USC Trojans. Oh no, the ultimate football school. One day next week we'll go. We'll go.
They were 14 in '97.
Yeah, in '97 because I was down in Birmingham. That's when Arizona came out of there. It was Arizona, Providence, Kansas, and Tinchat. Am I right?
I just have Chattanooga's pulled up. I don't have the bracket itself in front of me.
I'm gonna brag. I know I'm right. That was a team's in because on that Providence team, and you'll remember that people will remember this name, and a delightful young man on Providence. Their guard was God, Sham God, and all the jokes about playing against God and all that stuff. And he got asked about his name at the media availability, and he gave just one of the bright, nice, smart answers of all time. He said, "Look, I didn't name myself, and there are a ton of Latin American, Hispanic athletes named Jesus, spelled Jesus."
Yes.
And he said, they don't have to answer this question every time. So let's answer this one more time, and then let's be the end of it, and let's talk basketball. He was delightful. Great way to answer it.
Especially because he's been asked every day since
times.
He was 5.
Yeah, a million times. He was fun to be around and fun to watch play. We're going to have fun with Taco Bell Crunch Time to wrap up this Thursday afternoon when we return. That's up next on Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you got some deals over there that'll blow me away at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You better believe it, Randy. I've got a 2021 Kia Forte $135 a month lease.
That's less than $5 a day for a new car at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Plus a 2021 Kia Soul redesigned inside and out $149 per month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5 $179 per month lease. 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
Plus they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah. 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, NE 319,491, MSRP 20,625, sold, M775597, MSRP 20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 3/31/21, dealer stock only.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
This is a job alert. If you're looking for work, this will interest you, whether you're looking for full-time, part-time, or even something temporary if you've been recently furloughed. Text 107-JOB to 49330. That's 107-JOB to 49330. Office work available now in a clean office environment with all COVID precautions taken. Text 107-JOB to 49330 and someone will be in touch about these job opportunities available now. Text 107-JOB to 49330.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, how many did we hit, man? Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello,
Boop! Choo!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
All one, all two, all three, hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. As we speak, the pictures out of Birmingham and across central Alabama training toward the northeast Alabama just looks awful. If you've got family and friends down there, check on them and have a prayer for them tonight, because they have been hit hard in Birmingham. The destruction's terrible, and already a death toll of 5 people confirmed already having been killed from the storms. That is tough. Learn today, the Grizzlies should be very proud of that 21-20 start where they stand right now. If they're 82 game schedule, they'd be halfway home, and they'd be proud of that too. I think if they want to make the playoffs, they make the playoffs. The players always do. It's just however it's manipulated by the front office.
Exactly. Players always want to play and win the game. I learned today, after the recent publicized disparities between its men's and women's basketball tournament, the NCAA has hired a law firm to conduct an independent gender equality review of its championships across all 3 divisions and for all sports. According to the news release, the NCAA has hired the New York-based firm Kaplan, Heckler & Fink, which has significant experience in Title IX and gender equality issues, and to make sure that they correct everything going forward.
Yeah, it's got to be equitable for all the players that play, for the opportunity and for the food and for the workout centers. But the biggest thing that the women's sports are running up against is just the economics of it. The TV contract is just so enormous for the men's basketball tournament as compared to theirs. Could have done without. Some good to big deals today, but someone traded a 2027 second rounder. That guy may be in 9th grade in Riga, Latvia, for all we know. And the Knicks with a blockbuster deal. They dealt Iggy Brazdeikis today.
Ooh.
What you got on Iggy Brazdeikis?
I'm not even going to attempt to say his name. That's what I've got on him. That's about all I can say about him. What I could have done without today, and it's honestly what I could have been doing without the last, 4 years. Pat Forty of Sports Illustrated wrote a story out today. You can find it on his Twitter. The FBI investigation into LSU basketball and Will Wade remains open and ongoing. When are we ever going to get this thing solved?
Let's wrap it up,
When
folks.
are we ever going to get some results? We know he's guilty. We've all heard the tapes. We've heard him say the incriminating things of him trying to buy players. We know what's going on. Why can't we just get some results?
Yeah, I don't know why we can't get to some conclusion of this. And, this is not the NCAA completely messing around. This is also on the FBI.
It is. I'm
Come on,
sure
FBI.
there's more important things that the Federal Bureau of Investigation is dealing with, but I think we can sacrifice one guy in the FBI out there in
time to wrap
Virginia
it up one way or the other.
wrap it up. Exactly.
What are you keeping a close eye on tonight?
Obviously, it's going to be a lot of University of Memphis basketball against Boise on ESPN from Texas. Going to keep a close eye on some NBA action tonight. Wizards against the Knicks. Got Clippers in San Antonio. And the late one tonight, Golden State and Sacramento. Also going to have some hockey action on in the background somewhere as the Lightning take on Dallas. And a good matchup starting here in about 4 minutes, the Rangers and Flyers.
And from Jeff Goodman, college basketball reporter's Twitter site, breaking at this moment. And congratulations, Memphis assistant Tony Madlock has been named the new head coach at South Carolina State. So longtime assistant coach gets that head coaching job. So we were talking about players that might be exiting. We now know for the 3rd straight year there's a change in the assistant coaching staff. First year Sam Mitchell, last year Mike Miller, now this year Tony Madlock. We'll watch the end of the Mississippi State-Richmond game, 3 more NIT games, including the Tigers against Boise and a win, and we'll be excited for 2 more games, a loss, and well, it'll be that feeling of yet another NIT loss. Too much NIT bracketology and too much NIT talk, and maybe that'll change next year. 76ers at Staples late against LeBron and AD less Lakers. We'll keep an eye on all that. Want to thank Dave for joining us from down in Dallas, Keith Smith from down in Orlando, Greg Gaston from right here in Memphis, and Shelby Mass from Dallas-Fort Worth. And tomorrow we will be back with you at 3 o'clock. Drew, great job. For Dave, for Drew, I'm Brett. Talk to you tomorrow.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus